Well, we left our homes up in Bristol Bay for the waters of Miami shore. With a hippo at the helm and our severance pay, we fly the pirate flag once more. Pirate radio with the ship and crew. We get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. Pirate radio. Well, the ship is a wreck, shit stains the deck as Michael hollers fellas make more. And Billy is a worry that he's got the scurvy, cause Chris ate all the limes in store. Pirate radio with the ship and crew. We get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. Pirate radio. Now Roy is a chum when he's on the rum. He's the glue when we spring a leak. And Stu is a mess, he does less and less. And Greg sounded worse each week. Pirate radio with the ship and crew. We get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. Pirate radio. Someone yelled ahoy, who the hell's cabin boy? Somebody named Tony, who knows? Once we got the skip, well, a mean jumped ship, cause he knew we would sail to gold. Pirate radio with the ship and crew. We get wind in our sails and the sky is blue. There's a devil up our nose, so much work to do. For the pirate radio.
Cortez, look at my shirt. You like it?
You're such a fraud, Billy. At this point, you're just trying to annoy me.
Just a bunch of heat lifers, the two of us.
Go wear some Marlins shirt, like the franchise you actually deserve.
Look at this.
Unbelievable.
Wade! It's my house. It's my Wade impression.
Show some respect, for the love of God, Billy.
When did the flip happen, Billy? Because I feel like when Bosch Big 3 was here, you were like genuinely into the Heat.
It's not the Heat I don't like. That's the misconception. It's Ryan Cortez I don't like. Not him as a person, just him as an essence. Like, it's him as the fan base that I don't like. It's not the Heat.
That is having...
When Chris mentioned a flip, let's talk about Billy's flip from the Marlin fan. Like, longtime listener to the show. Do you guys remember that?
What do you mean?
Oh, when he went from crushing them to being a supporter all of a sudden?
Well,
that.
What is that about? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
More fraudulent behavior.
That's part of being a fan. You like them, you dislike them. I have an unbiased opinion, Ryan Cortez. When things are good, I'll be happy. And when things are bad, sometimes you need to be the voice of whatever it is, dissension. Is that it?
When the Marlins send free jerseys, he'll be happy.
No.
How many Heat games have you watched the last 2 years, Billy?
I think it was when Wade left, by the way. That was the Heat flip. When Wade left to go to Cleveland, that is when.
Oh, no, they sucked. I was out on them before that. They sucked.
The Heat flip happened when it was all of the LeBron bluster without LeBron, right? It was, we're just going to be the same fans that we've always been, even though our team isn't as good and is missing the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, look, it's a lot of things, right? So, like, last year, everyone's rooting against the Heat. No one's rooting against the Heat. They just wanted LeBron to win more than the Heat. They're rooting against you for being annoying. That's what they're rooting against.
All right, I'll get to you in a second. With the Heat, with the bluster, like, enough of this crap. Like, there's no Heat bluster. Like, that. Chris Bosh had blood clots, okay? Thank you very much. He got sick.
They rooted for the Lakers because the Heat fans are annoying?
Yeah. And that, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you're a special kind of annoying when you're more annoying than Lakers fans.
I think this is built on a
fallacy. So you're aware.
Okay, let me settle everyone down here because there were a number of different things happening as some people knew we were on air and some people did not. So let me go back to the beginning of this conversation. Billy wandered into the Zoom, and lest none of us see the ridiculous shirt he was wearing, he made sure to stand up. It's as engaged as Billy has been.
Stand up and make some noise for my T-shirt.
Yeah, nice. So Billy comes into the Zoom late per usual, wanders in. He's the last one in because, he's Billy, and he just arrives.
I'm in medicine I have to take.
Yeah, okay, there's medicine, right. So Billy arrives, and lest no one see the shirt he's wearing, because it's not subtle enough. It's got flames, and it's a 3, and it's a Dwayne Wade. It's a very loud type of affliction shirt that's not very Billy. He gets into the Zoom and starts shaking his nipples. Look, everybody, Heat lifer, I'm a Heat lifer. And he's just trying to bother everyone in the Zoom. So And while he's doing that, Greg Cote is coughing because he's having a rough morning, and Stugotz is doing an actual cameo and has no idea we're on the air. He's doing a cameo, and he's like, look, and he's putting me in, and he's like, the big kahuna, and he's just yelling over you guys.
Dano.
And the place that I wanted to start with everybody who is in this Zoom, because now we've got a whole lot of people arguing about Heat homerism because Cortez and Whittingham are kind of homery like Mike, and now Billy's on the other side with his Heat lifer shirt making fun of everybody, a real winning position for Billy. Because everyone
Wade, 3.
Everyone hates the Heat homers. The thing I wanted to ask you guys, all of you, is how do you feel about the Eric Reed call that I might botch here, but has been sort of, I think, baking for a long time now? Precious yes-ish.
Oh, boy. That is terrible.
Hall of Famer, you read.
It's amazing.
Jeez.
It's a gold standard. New gold standard here down these parts.
Better than man with the golden arm.
Stop calling us homers just because we like our reigning Eastern Conference champions. We're supportive of the fans. Like, we're supportive of the team. We love this team. We've been proven right at almost every corner, and we're homers for just spewing facts.
Mike, you resent the word homer? I feel like you'd wear that as a badge of honor.
Well, I don't understand why you get hit with it negative. What, you don't like your team? Sue me. I love the Miami Heat. I've been supportive of my team my entire life. I'm a sports fan. I thought this was a sports show. Was it not?
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Do you hate the guy who says sue me when making an argument? What a frivolous lawsuit. Mike Ryan, you are on trial for loving your team too much. You're being sued by Billy Gill.
I might try to sue him.
Has anyone ever been sued after someone asked sue me? Has anyone ever taken you up on that offer?
We all have our allegiances. Billy, out of one side of his mouth, will disregard Heat fans and then be the world's biggest Marlins fan. Dan will be fist-pumping when Udonis Haslem hits a slam dunk against the Chicago Bulls. We all have our allegiances here, people. Let's not castigate people for having them.
Can you admit to the fist pump yet?
I already did. Weren't you here?
It's a mystery crate.
Steve Martin was a prop comic. So Greg Cote is in the chat here. He's been coughing the entire time, and I believe he is Grandpa Homer. He has taught this entire, if this is indeed a dysfunctional family, the teacher, the first mentor on how to sort of weave through Homerism and journalism. Greg Cote, the grandfather, is with us here. So how does Greg Cote feel about Precious Yeshes?
It's tough to say. I mean, the second word, yesish, is like a one-word tongue twister. It's so awful that it's brilliant. You know, it's one of those phrases that's just patently terrible, which makes it great. So I applaud Eric Reed. It's fantastic. It really is.
Doesn't it seem beneath Eric Reed? It seems beneath him.
A little bit, yeah.
Yesish.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for, Greg.
It's like the pet rock. It's simple, yet brilliant.
Is that Marv Albert doing Precious?
It really isn't that simple, though. I mean, to follow Precious with yesish, it
tough.
Doesn't go without saying. It's pretty inventive.
What I am saying is this is what I want to really study. I want to get into this because I believe that we are uniquely qualified across generations to comment on this and critique it intelligently. Eric Reed, for those of you who do not know, every single one of us in this Zoom have sort of grown up on the idea that he's the one calling Heat games. He is a maximum professional. He has, he sort of tries to give off objectivity, but we all know whose side he's on. Is that fair?
Does he really try to give it off?
I feel like he's trying. But he works for the Heat, and he proudly works for the Heat, and he proudly works for the Heat since he started, because when they started is when he started with the Heat.
There's been a sea change this season, though. He's always been like the Homer broadcaster, but he leaned more to objective, quite honestly. But now he's taking subtle, veiled shots at opponents, and he's really turning on his support for the Miami Heat. I'm not sure what happened there.
No, I'll tell you what happened. What the bleep does Eric Reed get? He's now a full-fledged member made in the Mafia family. Like, he's been there from the beginning and gone through all of it. He's been in all of the championship locker rooms. He gets to do it the way. This represents freedom from an organization that treasures its lifers. Man, he's lost partners. He's the one thing that's been there. Is it him and Pineda? Is that it? Like, has Pineda been there since the beginning? And him, and those are the only two guys that have been there since the very beginning of Miami Heat basketball.
I'm not certain. Are you saying Eric Reed has arrived at I don't give a bleep? Is that where he's at?
Within the framework of his professionalism. He's a professional guy, but this is the most I don't give a bleep that Eric Reed's ever been.
Lavos.
Yes, that's right.
I believe it's a
do you know who
Z instead of an S.
Do you know who you're talking about?
Nope.
Who are you? Okay, so you are parroting simply that Mike Ryan gave you a Spanish phrase in your head, and you want to say it again?
Sue me. I mean, Lavos.
Yes. Are those the only two? Greg Cote, you should know. You are a local historian. Are those the only two? The only two.
Hey, limped in there.
There was one thing that changed over the last year in regards to the broadcast. Now, I think Eric Reed, like some of the longtime broadcasters there, is employed by the team. But the regional sports networks did change ownership. Remember, Fox had to divest itself from it as a part of the Disney deal. Disney then had to divest itself from the regional sports networks, so they got sold to Sinclair. And Sinclair, I think next year, Fox Sports Sun is going to be called Bally's Sports Sun. After the former fitness chain and casino.
The gambling money is pouring in. Like this, we're about to see a sea change in sports and how all this stuff is covered. And wait till ESPN starts grabbing at the gambling money. Like because all these places, Wynn and Bally's, they're all trying to get in the game because they all realize that how much money there is in sports.
The expectation is that it's legal pretty much nationwide. Florida's actually going to have the toughest time getting it legalized. And I know that sounds like a surprise because it's a bit of like the Wild West out here, but the Native Americans have so much influence and power when it comes to their monopoly of gaming down here, and also Disney doesn't necessarily want that in the States. It'll be interesting to see.
I want to keep talking about this Heat thing with the group, okay, but I need to go a little into what's happening around us right now, because the degree of difficulty on what it is that we're doing every day is made hard by a number of different things that aren't just Greg Cote on a Zoom, and we can't figure out whether the best way to work with him is on a landline or sitting at a microphone because he's an entertainer. But now it is, and this is going to make a lot of people in parts of the country where it is still cold, it is swampy in here today. We have lost all of our air conditioning. We came in and the floors are so humid that they're wet, and everyone needs to watch because it's slippery. And we are damp and by an ocean, and we have a little bit of must, even by the standards of a Greg Cote Tuesday. There's a little bit of musty in here. So the degree of difficulty, Mike has a towel. Because he came in here, I looked at him, and I'm looking at him in the dark. He hasn't even turned the lights on because it's hot enough. He doesn't also need the lights. So he's standing basically up to his ankles in sort of a water, a humid, damp. All I can describe it as is swampy. And so he's making his way swampily through something that resembles a flood to go get to Bob the engineer to make sure our equipment doesn't short circuit.
Every time I say, Bob, we're in a good stretch. You can stay home today. Something catastrophic happens. It is so hot in these studios right now, you could see the heat. You could see it bouncing off the surfaces. I implore you, be careful when you do it. Go to our rack room that houses everything that runs this entire board and this empire. Go into that rack room. It's like walking outside of Caesar's Palace onto the Vegas Strip. It is 1,000,000 degrees in there. I'm legitimately worried about our equipment.
All right, excellent. So that's where we are today as we try to keep the pirate ship afloat.
But if I spend a few minutes in the rack room, will the rest of the room feel cooler? Is that a good strategy?
Bit of a heady play by you.
You like that?
Well,
huh?
a heady play over here comes in, and this is what he does. He waddles away from you, playing the hits, muttering under his breath, as lazy as he's ever been, even as he wants every dollar ever made to man, especially from that gambling community.
Lavo.
La voz. Stugotz.
Sue me.
How do you?
Jeez.
How do you keep getting worse on a single Spanish?
That's what they call them in France. I mean, ask the French.
So his contribution to Mike Ryan running back and forth through ankle water of humid swamp into the short-circuited room where all of the expensive equipment is melting is to walk into the dark. Again, the lights were off so it wouldn't overheat in here. And wander off muttering as I can see his ass crack, thinking like really super pleased with himself. Hey, Dan, can you feel the heat? So, Greg, explain to the audience, because I have loved growing up. I mean, this is a ridiculous thing for me to say as an old person. I have loved, as a young Cuban American who was in his early 20s learning this business from Greg Cote at the Miami Herald, it has been a pleasure to watch Eric Reed age with grace. And yes, he does some Homer announcer stuff. Hell, you do a great Eric Reed, or you used to before the hacking cough and the asthma medicine. You've made fun of Eric Reed for years, and all he's been is nice to you, correct? You've made fun on this radio show. Yep, what?
He's almost always been nice to me. The one time we were on the road together during the playoffs, and we were in each other's company at a party, and he, after each of us had had a couple of drinks, he did come up to me and sort of query me about my imitation of him, and I had to explain that it's, a form of flattery, and if he weren't a local legend, I would never have done it. And I don't think he was real pleased with it, but, Glenn Rice with the rock. Precious. Yes-ish. But I love Eric Reed, and like you, I really admire his longevity, the quality of his work, the consistency. I mean, I think he's a great asset for the franchise. I really do.
I once was egged on by my friends at a season ticket holder event to take a photo with Tony Fiorentino. I feel bad about it because he had no idea who I was, and Billy accuses me of having a hand in his demise.
Oh, no, not accused. You got the man fired. Greg, how did that confrontation go? Like, I'll be you and you be Eric Reed. So we're at this bar, and it's playoff time, and I'm like, oh, hey, Eric, how's it going?
Well, Greg, I'm not real pleased with some of the things I hear you saying on the Batard show. Why are you imitating me like that?
What do you mean? It's the sincerest form of flattery, Eric.
Oh, okay. Precious, yes.
You've offended me 6 times this year, 2 times in the last month.
Wow. Is there a passing of the baton?
Wow. Wait a minute. In fact, Billy, please do it with Chris.
Good.
Wait,
Yes,
Billy,
yes.
please do it with Chris. Hold on. I'd like another recreation. Let's get Greg Cote.
I may have just unloaded the chamber, but let's go right back to it.
That's right. And let's do it this way. I'm going to give you a second to think about it. You may have unloaded the chamber, but this is why your father needs your help and why I am here to filibuster as a bridge between generations. He ran out of gas at yes-ish precious. Like, he didn't have anything else. Like, that's all he had. He didn't have any creativity left. It was too hard to do on the fly. So take the baton.
He also wasn't holding his nose, which is a staple to the Eric Reed imitation.
Let's do it again here, if you can. So, Chris, you are going to be Eric Reed. Billy, you are Greg Cote being confronted by Eric Reed. Let's try it again from the top, and a competent actor who's not coughing.
What a lovely night here in the hotel. Off day, playoffs. Oh, hold on a second, Jax. Let me go say hi to my friend E. Reed. Oh, hey, Eric. How's it going?
Hey there, Greg Cote. I'm enjoying my martini here. Greg Cote is someone I dislike more and more every time I hear him. Kaboom!
What?
Okay, he's not getting how the game works. Okay, great. Failure. It ends. The Cotes, ladies and gentlemen. Show killers.
Show killer!
Stugotz here. I love telling you about ZipRecruiter. Been supporting me, Dan, the entire show for many, many years. We appreciate them. And listen, the best teams start with great talent, but finding the right people can be a challenge. But when it comes to hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter can help you find the right candidates for your team fast. From healthcare to manufacturing to business services and more. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. When you post a job on ZipRecruiter, it gets sent out to over 100 top job sites with one click. Then ZipRecruiter's matching technology scans thousands of resumes and profiles to send you the most qualified people for your job. If you're really interested in a candidate, simple. You invite them to apply for your job. With one click, ZipRecruiter sends them an email from you, and you stand out from the competition. It's so effective that 4 to 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. And right now, to try ZipRecruiter for free, my listeners can go to ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/DAN. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Rack room.
Go in there. Dare you.
I'm going to go to the rack room. We were debating whether it would be a good shoe store, name for a shoe store, or pool hall.
Put it on the poll.
Rack 'em.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, or a place where takes are made.
Jim Rome has announced a new podcast series.
No.
Yeah. It gives off... I think it might be a little interesting if I were at that phase in my life, and I might already be considering my Instagram targeted ads, but it gives off like midlife crisis vibes because it's about like reinvention, and everybody's either getting better or worse. Which are you? So it's really him trying to improve his life through interviews.
Well, one of the things that I think is interesting about the evolution of all these powerhouse media brands is Jim Rome and Colin Cowherd have to figure out in their late 50s how to evolve toward the guys who are Mike Ryan standing next to Tony Fiorentino as Billy accuses him of taking that photograph and ending the demise of the old guy in the business and the young guy sort of smiling in the picture who's coming for his stuff. And so Jim Rome and Colin Cowherd have to now get into the podcast network game. They have to figure out how to do it as radio starts to die a little bit, but there's still value in the people who have been following Jim Rome and Colin Cowherd all their lives because they're still a valuable demo, 44 to 64, and they're like, this is what I grew up with, and I still like it. And so Jim Rome quietly became CBS. Jim Rome was, at one point in this business, making more per year than any of the athletes. Any of them. He owns horses that are very good at racing. He is an elite, rich media person who has to figure out, Jim Rome, welcome to the jungle. I fought Jim Everett on television, calling him Chris Everett to his face on ESPN at the advent of both Jim Rome and ESPN. He was the shock jock first guy. He's the guy who did the stickiness and the addiction of what there is of our audience, Stugotz. He did it first with road tours, and he was like a rock star, making, again, more money than anyone in sports per year in salary because of the booming radio business. And now he has to figure out late in the game how to reinvent himself. And it's hard because young people won't let you.
Just to give people an idea of just how much money he was making at the height of Jim Rome, he was making $30 million a year. He signed a 3-year deal with CBS for $90 million. I mean, it's
and
crazy.
For those of you who do not know, and I don't know how much of an industry secret this is, and I don't know if he still does this because it seemed like a crazy way to get rich. It's the opposite of the shortcut Stugotz way of getting rich in this business. He was not only going to do a show alone, which requires, as you've heard me say before, a special ego, narcissism, and talent. Because I can't do it. I find it way too lonely. I absolutely need the communal laughter. I absolutely need the bonding, the friendship, the shared. Some people don't, and they are better than me at that. I cannot do this alone. It becomes very boring to me, even though I know many of you complain about me loving the sound of my own voice, if I'm the only voice. But it's a talent. But he did that talent, and he was writing everything out. It didn't sound like it. And I don't know if he was doing that by hand or if he had writers or what, but it didn't sound like he was reading, but he was that clever because he was reading.
Well, he was that good because he was prepared. Whenever he would have a take, whenever there was a segment where it was a Jim Rome take, he put thought into it. And it was a secret to the audience. We noticed at Radio Row, and now he's a lot more disguised about it because his show is simulcast. But absolute game changer. He was the first national sports personality to really tap into a fervent fan base the way that Howard Stern did. You wanted to be a part of the jungle. Callers were actually good on that show. Built the community. We were influenced by that because really you see some of the national radio shows, they don't really have that passionate following outside. We have the Reddit, so we replicated that formula to a degree in making sure that our callers were in a bit of a competition with one another. He laid it out there in the open. Ours was a bit more subtle.
Well, one of the ways, right, if you've been with us since the beginning, and this has been one of the great joys of doing this with a community. I know it happened for all of us. It happened for Stugotz, and it happened for Mike. I wonder if you, Billy, you noticed this, and Roy, you noticed this, that it was, and it required evolution at every step with the technology. First, it was training callers to compete against each other on being clever, on going outside of wherever it is that you've never thought of yourself as a show business person, but you think you're clever and you're funny. Here, can you perform on stage, do some improv, compete against each other? And then it becomes texts competing against each other. Then it becomes social media competing against each other. And then it becomes everything that it has become, which is a whole lot of people helping us produce the show because of the community, because they care about it, because they get the jokes. But this is the difficulty in aging. And I know Greg Cote has noticed this as he celebrates very narcissistically, because he has the talent to do and the narcissism and the ego. He has the talent, narcissism, and ego to do his own podcast that is now 1 year old that I know that he wants to talk about. The difficulty in aging is Jim Rome, with that following, went to CBS, the network we're always making fun of for having plastic on the furniture and being about Murder, She Wrote and Cagney and Lacey and Magnum P.I.
Don't leave out Murphy Brown.
That I saw the ads all over New York for Jim Rome as he descended into what I saw. And the reason I bring all this up is because we're in this position now. This is the choice that we're making at my age. And I'm like looking and I'm like, oh, CBS, that's interesting. Old person network. Is that advertising in Times Square? Why is he holding, and it was supposed to be a microphone that looked sort of like a gun is what it was supposed to look like. But I'm standing there and I'm like, why is he holding a hairdryer? And I'm like, okay, that's how we're going to get old. All right. We're going to have billboards in Times Square going to CBS, not realizing that our gun microphone is a hairdryer.
The microphone was a weapon for Jim Rome. He would do takeouts.
So he's still...
Yeah, the show hasn't really changed all that much, which I actually kind of like because I was such a fan of the show. I hop into a time machine, I watch it before like CBS's Champions League coverage, and I get a kick out of it because you actually get to see the inner workings of that show a little bit more, so the producers are a bit more front-facing, which that was always a well-produced show, and he was the absolute star, so I like the production element of it, and you get to see it a little bit more. I was always curious, like, how does he pull this off knowing what his prep is, or what I've been told his prep is, so I watch it as like a real nostalgic experience.
Does he still have the jungle?
Yeah, he still has the jungle, but I mean, it's different now. He also suffered through what we did, which is callers are a little worse now because they don't want to wait on hold to express their creativity. They just want to send a tweet. It's a lot easier that way.
So, Greg Cote, how do you plan on aging with grace?
I don't know if I have or if I will. I wonder about demographics, though. Does one's fandom and listenership age with them? Or is it always like an onion peeling away and you're having new listeners? I really don't know. Like my podcast, I think, has a lot of your same fans, and they're younger than me. I don't think rare would be the listener who's actually older than me. So I think the key is just somehow appealing to a younger audience with humor. I've always been somebody who didn't sound his age in terms of content, I don't think, despite my back in my days and everything, because I like to have fun. I like to just be silly. And
no, you do sound your age. You wanted to talk about a Mr. Potato Head controversy, which is a toy from the 1970s. So don't tell me you consistently,
you literally sound your age.
You literally sound your age. Your Eric Reed impersonation has gone to total shit because of the asthma medication.
Yeah, that's a fact. By the way, Mr. Potato Head was born in 1952, and Rare is the toy that's actually older than I am, believe it or not. So, but again, I don't, most of my listeners are younger than I am. That's for sure. So I don't know how to age gracefully. I just take one step at a time and call it living.
All right, that's not petering out at the end of the segment. Let's get him on the phone again. He's forgotten he's on the radio. Let's get him now. Oh, vigorous swig. Yeah, swig. Yeah, you deserve that.
It wasn't that vigorous, really. It was just a normal swig.
Greg, you should get an earring if you want to sound younger. I know you think, wow, this is crazy. How will people know I have an earring? You just know. people with an earring have a certain attitude about them, a certain youthfulness. I think you should get your ears pierced. If not both, at least start with one and then maybe move on to two. And then if you like the two, you could go up the ear, do like kind of the stud thing at the top of the ear. And then the young people really like flock to you. They'll be like, you know what? He's one of us. He's got an earring.
Yeah, Ed Bradley did it. You might as well, too.
Yes.
There you go.
Bradley.
Speaking of which, Roy, I wanted to talk to you about something here because you mentioned Ed Bradley and aging and stuff, and something we didn't talk about yesterday. And this is my mistake because I should have talked about it, but it's an interesting thing as you age in the media, on the radio, and in podcast form. When people die in sports, the responsibility of shows like ours to stop and show respect for somebody who has died and not just sort of gloss right over it. And I don't know if it was this way for you, Roy, because you may be too young, but I do know it was very much this way for me. Irv Cross died at 81 years old. And Irv Cross, to me, represents, as I'm starting in sports, as I'm a Cuban kid in a Cuban Miami who doesn't see a whole lot of people on television who look like him, but also is not nearly adult enough to do the math on there's no one on television that looks like me. Why is everyone on television just white people? I remember being struck by Irv Cross and by the specifics of a child not understanding anything, Roy, and being like, oh, he's allowed to do that? He's allowed to be with the white people doing the television thing because I didn't see anyone else like Irv Cross on television wearing a suit, looking elegant, and being allowed with the other people. It's such a weird form of racism to look at through a child's eyes in the 70s and 80s where you don't understand what you're looking at. You're just like, Irv Cross is a black dude, and he's lean, and he's elegant, and how did he get there? How is he allowed up there? Roy, were you too young to experience Irv Cross that way?
Well, that version of the NFL today was a bit before my time, but you got to look at that show as pretty groundbreaking between Irv Cross and Phyllis George. You didn't see black people or women talking about football in that way. So that show within itself was just groundbreaking at that time.
Cody, what do you remember of Irv Cross? We have now gotten you on a landline. Can you stand up, please? Because, again, I think the sitting hurts you, and you just peter out on your thoughts, and you forget you're supposed to. All right. Well, just. What's he doing? What are you doing?
You know, when Irv Cross died, and I found out he was 81, my first thought was, wow, 81? Because it's weird when you retire, when you leave the air and all of a sudden you disappear, it's almost like in the minds of the listeners, time freezes. Like I didn't think of Irv Cross as 81. I'm like, if you would have asked me, I would have said, oh, he's probably my age. He's probably in his 60s. So it's just weird like that. But I do remember Roy made a great point. Irv Cross and Phyllis George together, it really was something that sort of set the standard for diversity on network TV, as far as my memory goes. Now, I could be missing somebody else, but he was great, Irv Cross.
That is how I remembered them in the 70s, not conscious of any of this stuff. That's how I remembered that show. And if you've read the things, because he was impossibly elegant, Irv Cross was, but even he caught all manner of shit. All manner of disguised shit. You'd have to go back and read about it and talk to some of the people who knew them. But he and Phyllis George had it so hard, while symbolically, Stugotz, Jimmy the Greek, the gambling white guy from Privilege, is the guy who actually descends into, like, he was the star. Irv Cross was not. Brent Musburger and Jimmy the Greek were the stars of that show.
No doubt.
Phyllis George and Irv Cross were absolutely 1970s sort of adornment that were ahead of their time, but it's not like they had it easy being ahead of their time. Brent did, and Jimmy the Greek did. Jimmy the Greek could be so comfortable that he'd be slurring through a speech and end his career because of how comfortable. But Irv Cross, from what I remember, impossibly elegant until the end. I don't know if he's got any smears or marks on his resume, but I sure don't remember anything but elegant.
Oh, he was fantastic, a legendary broadcaster. But you're right, people did not want Irv Cross and Phyllis George on that set. Like, it was rejected by a lot. I enjoyed it. It was fantastic. It was way ahead of its time. But people rejected the fact that there would be a woman and a black man on their NFL pregame show telling them about football.
The part that I'm finding fascinating, Cody, in terms of how far ahead of their time they were when you look at where America is in our streets 50 years later on the race and gender stuff, I find fascinating that the standard in the 70s had to be Phyllis George, and symbolically, she was either Miss America or Miss Universe, or they were treating her as an object that may or may not have known about sports, but that was her qualification. She was a beautiful woman who could talk about sports. Let's see how this goes. But she got ripped at every turn, even though she was very hardworking, for a culture that made it. Like, can you guys find for me whether it was Miss America or Miss Universe or what beauty pageant thing was Phyllis George's chief qualification? And then, Greg, impossibly elegant Irv Cross, Lynn Swann before Lynn Swann, like just sort of a physical statue of perfection, former athlete who can weave a tapestry and talk to you in a way that's not going to be threatening at all to the white people.
She was Miss America.
So Miss America and Irv Cross, and still they caught all manner of shit. And still, for nothing more than just being women in black. Like, really, you can't accuse Phyllis George and Irv Cross of anything unless you're looking to accuse them of things.
Right, and women in sports, whether it's sportscasters, sports writers, women in sports still put up with that. I mean, the Miami Herald's sports staff is down to like 7 or 8 people. 2 of them are women, and I've talked to both of them about the shit that they put up with, the mean text, the misogynistic text. Ask Sarah Spain. Sarah Spain puts up with that same kind of stuff, and all women in sports do, and so that hasn't changed much. But Phyllis George, imagine being Miss America, and then talking about football. I mean, it just had to blow the minds of male listeners who are like, "Wow, my sportscaster should be a former guard. He should have a broken nose. He shouldn't have a sash across his chest as Miss America." It's really who was the CBS executive who put those two together, because he deserves credit. I don't know who it was at that time, but that's a watershed decision he made.
Before we get out of the local hour, I wanted to talk to you guys about what I believe to be a seminal moment yesterday that ends an era for all the Heat homers on this Zoom, because
Heat fans, please.
Joakim Noah, 13 years in the league, retires yesterday. I don't know where he was. Was he with the Clippers at the end? He was hanging on with Clippers, Memphis.
He was playing this year?
Yes. Well, or he was, I don't know. I don't think he was actually physically playing, but I think he might have been on a bench somewhere, and he just retired. And what does that make the people in the Zoom feel? Because as we talk about age and being old, Joakim Noah's physical body is a bit broken. 13 years of basketball will do that to you. Joakim Noah at the end becomes a bit of a smiling joke because he sort of represents University of Florida party culture that had a lot of fun and probably does some weed smoking, if you're guessing. And you're looking at everything
guessing.
If you're he was a defensive player of the year. He was 4th in the league in MVP voting. That seems impossible to imagine given what his body is at this point.
I was so excited when the Knicks got him. I really was.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Is he?
Yeah, Basketball Hall of Fame.
Please.
What do you mean, oh, please?
No, he might get in, Greg.
As a
Everyone
defensive
gets in.
player of the year, I believe multiple-time All-Star, as a 2-time college basketball champion. No, he's easily a Hall of Famer in my mind.
I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with you on that, Mike.
Well, the game has changed, and it changed out from under him too, because he saw how the game changed, and he was always still a very good defender, but not a great defender that could come out to the perimeter. That wasn't really his strength. He could be super agile on the inside and keep up with guys that you're like, how is this guy doing that? And he can give smaller players trouble when they got into the paint. But yeah, he he got aged out as the evolution continued.
I'm sure people are laughing at the notion that Joakim Noah is a Hall of Famer, but Mike is right. It's because that Hall of Fame allows anyone into its Hall of Fame.
Hold on.
I'm not saying Joakim Noah is going to get in, but he has a shot. In any other sport, he's not getting in.
He's a two-time All-Star, All-NBA first team in 2014, Defensive Player of the Year. Internationally, I believe he represented France, and you have to take into account he's one of the greatest winners in the history of college basketball.
Greg, are you okay? Okay, because I cannot continue to do this show in a way that, I'm worried about you again because you can't stop the noise making and you don't seem like you're physically okay because I'm looking at you in the chat. Are you okay?
Yeah, the problem with doing it on the phone is that
you can mute your phone. You can mute your phone.
That's a good point. I'll try to do that from now on. No, I apologize. I just cleared my throat. I did extend my arm and try to put the phone away from me, but I guess you heard the sound anyway. I apologize about that.
Getting back to, I don't mean to yell at you about this. I just need your help. I'm trying to figure out, is it standing up he needs? Is it on the phone? Is it a microphone? Is it in a chair? How about go sit on a toilet? Let's try it that way. Go into another part of your house where I can't see you and go sit on a toilet and I'll just talk to you. Can we try it that way for a second?
I'm not going to sit on a toilet, but I can leave the room if you'd like.
No, just go sit on the toilet for a second and tell me when you're there, please. I'll continue the show with you on a toilet. Thank you.
Okay.
I want to get back to what it is that Mike is saying, which is I do believe Joakim Noah, because of the virtue of being international, college, and pros, even though I would laugh at the suggestion. Joakim Noah, what are you talking about? Hall of Famer. That's not a professional Hall of Famer. Doesn't have the longevity or the continued excellence to be a Hall of Famer. But the part I find more interesting about that is we've all seen in Miami basketball watching and caring about that dude being the rival and the guy who was hated as an irritant. That game evolved so fast, Stugotz, that in the last 10 years, the reason Joakim Noah is out of it and the reason we could...
That would have been so much funnier if it was a poop noise.
I'm now pretending to be sitting on a toilet.
Just end the segment there.
Stugotz here. Let's take a minute for my friends at Advance Auto Parts, our friends at Advance Auto Parts. Listen, Dan and I ask the bare minimum. That's what we ask of you, the audience, okay? Take care of the people who support this show, who get the show, and Advance Auto Parts has been supporting this show for years now, and they get the show, and they have truly become friends with me, Dan, the shipping container, the entire Le Batard Show crew. We love them. We love them. So take good care of them. Why? Because they take good care of us, because they get the show, because I'm telling you to. How about that? Have you heard about their advanced same-day offers? Amazing. Get this. Advance offers free curbside pickup and free in-store pickup within 30 minutes on most in-stock products. 30 minutes. That's the kind of speed that gets you back on the road with the parts you need fast. So head to your Advance Auto Parts store today. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
We're going to get to a new game that Billy wants to play. I don't know what it is exactly.
Ooh.
It's called, you're very excited. Do you want to tell the people?
Yeah, we need a sound effect, though. I didn't talk this through enough. We need a dropping sound effect.
Okay, that would have been good to know before we started, but okay.
Are we going?
Mike will work in real time to find you whatever sound it is you need to play the game name drop. We'll all find out what it is together. But before we do that, I want to ask Stugotz what he knows at all about the Lloyd Pierce situation. The talking point in sports today. Do you know anything about the Lloyd Pierce situation?
I don't know who Lloyd Pierce is.
All right, Stugotz, I'm going to need you to age 1% less worse because you don't care about anything happening in sports, and you haven't for a long time, but I need you to pay attention to some of the things happening every day and not be maximum lazy on every subject. Mama, I need your help here in terms of knowing something about what's going on in sports.
We're still inside a month from the funeral, but I'll get there eventually. Okay, and shame on you for turning my dead mother into content. I mean,
too soon.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, Stugotz. I apologize. You're right. I am wrong. I have fallen on the wrong side of cruelty again. You win, I lose. So the story with Lloyd Pierce is the following.
Why am I laughing?
The story with Lloyd Pierce is he's the Atlanta Hawks, or was the Atlanta Hawks coach. This is interesting and layered. You know, I generally don't care about news of the day, Stugotz, as it results in coach firings, because I feel, as you've seen with Steve Kerr and Stan Van Gundy and Bill Belichick and a whole bunch of other people, you can be really smarter than everyone else and build a good organization. And it helps when Kevin Durant comes and joins you, and you get lucky with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and you're light years ahead of everybody, and then they get hurt, and then you're not, and you're drowning, and you don't have any money anymore, and you finance the stadium, and Kevin Durant is in Brooklyn. So these things are complicated, but the macro on this is super interesting at a time, Stugotz, where you see not just America sociologically, everything happening in terms of race relations in this country that goes through Georgia, okay, that goes through Atlanta in a way that you can make decent arguments for everything that Stacey Abrams did there being sort of pivotal to changing the leadership of this country, specifically through the black city of Atlanta that is torn apart along racial lines, okay, where the owner of the Atlanta Dream was on the other side of this as Georgia swung blue, Stugotz. So the reason that I find this one in Atlanta interesting specifically is you see some of what is happening with the politics, Stugotz, in Georgia, where the fight is between, still masks and science and voter suppression. It's all happening in sort of the civil rights South, where you still get an argument about the Confederate flag and statues being tipped over. Within sports, what you have happening is the following, and this is why I find this situation interesting, as the Atlanta Hawks have clearly underachieved, but specifically with everything you see happening in sports, where black people are still telling you in sports, hey, Rooney Rule or not, the enemy still doesn't get the shots. Look at how this happens, and then you see what happens with the Mariners, Stugotz, where it's all out in the open, and hey, look, the white guy's treating all the minorities as disposable commodities, and just says so. Okay, you're fired now, but the system's still in place. And you did that to a Japanese customer base. You did that. You dehumanized when your best players are Latin and Dominican, and you're using their bodies as the white hedge fund guy at the top who's the money. And you've been bilking that organization through a grift for 20 years of bad baseball, just using these bodies, throwing them in the furnace. So, with that as your context, the Atlanta Hawks have underachieved this year. And their coach, the black guy, has been fired. The black guy, the interim coach, is now Nate McMillan, another black guy. This, again, they play in Atlanta. That's the customer base that just swung blue. That's a black city with a black fan base. And look at who the Atlanta Dreams owner was. And look at that now. A woman who sat out for social reform for a year, Renee Montgomery, as a player, a young player, has bought into part ownership of that team, because that team, the women in that sport, were stronger than even the men when it came to the activism, and they ran off the owner of the Atlanta Dream for being awful with black bodies. That's your context. And here's why it's interesting. Lloyd Pierce did underachieve this year. He is being blamed for the additions of Bogdanovich, Gallinari, Dunn, and Rondo, 4 guys that created expectations. They've missed a combined 103 games. So injury takes out the coach on a season of expectations. But what it ignores is this. He's the fall guy for Travis Schlenk, who looks exactly the way that you imagine if you Google search it, Travis Schlenk would look. And he traded the rights to Luka Doncic. He traded the rights for Trae Young and a future first-round pick who became Cam Reddish. So now what you have in the black city of Atlanta, you've got Nate McMillan saying, I need the endorsement of Lloyd Pierce if I'm going to take this job, because I just saw the white guy take out the black guy and I can't lose my team here right before I start. If I don't have the endorsement of the guy you're ousting, because it makes me look like a company man, because it makes me look like I'm willing to do the work of Travis Schlenk when I fight with you. I'm a veteran coach in this league who sees everything that's happening in America. I need your blessing, fired Lloyd Pierce, because I just saw what happened to you. These are injuries and expectations that took you out, and a general manager who traded Luka Doncic.
Who still has his job, the general manager.
That's why I think it's interesting, though. That's how you see, the power dynamics in that sport, where this began with Danny Ferry. Danny Ferry was on the executive track to white power and botched it all because Danny Ferry, Stugotz, like the example of a pillar of white professionalism in that sport that always gets to the power and was going to get to the power the way that power rises there in a way that it does for Danny Ferry and doesn't for Lloyd Pierce. Like, that's the thing. Right there at the center of Atlanta symbolically is the thing that people are looking at when it comes to power transfers in this country and what it's like to always have the privilege of being in the top power and how hard it is for someone like Lloyd Bridges to reach the place.
Lloyd Pierce.
Lloyd Pierce.
Yes.
Lloyd Bridges is even better.
Wow.
Bridges.
I mean, are you
with
kidding
a tissue
me?
paper between his ears.
Lloyd Bridges.
Lloyd Bridges, father of. Hold on a second. How old is Lloyd Bridges?
Lloyd Bridges cannot still be with us.
He's
dead.
Lloyd Bridges
23
left
years.
us in 1998.
Hold on, we're in the Cody wheelhouse now. Cody, give me the Cody howling on his toilet. Cody, give me all your Lloyd Bridges information.
Lloyd Bridges, he's older than I am. He's been dead for 30 years, I think. I remember him watching him on TV in black and white.
Why does he sound like he's shouting from another part of the bathroom?
He's on speakerphone. I think he actually might be taking a shit right now. It looks like it.
My pants are on.
Oh, okay.
He sounds so far away. Greg!
Hold the phone up to your ear, please.
Greg.
Sorry, I had it on speakerphone. My bad. Is that wrong of me? Technologically? I don't know the difference.
Is your back starting to hurt yet from sitting on that toilet for an hour?
No, I feel great, man. I'm in love with her, and I feel fine. Beatles, 1964.
Greg, please go back again to the other room, please. You could leave the toilet
A lot
now.
of exercise for Greg.
I know, but I just need his
Weird
full
lash
attention.
out. It's a weird punishment for Dan confusing the head coach of the Hogs with the star of Hot
Lashing
Shots
out
Part
at
2.
Greg, I mean.
Thank you.
Lloyd Bridges is the father or the grandfather of Jeff Bridges? Is he the father? Lloyd Bridges was making movies. Is Lloyd Bridges...
Dan, he
was born in 1913.
Yes,
Totally
was he
Bridges' dad.
Was he the? Let's get to
Jeff and
name
Bo
drop.
Bridges'
Did you find the imaging that Billy needs to get the game name drop off the ground? Let's go ahead and start this. We are doing this on the fly, impromptu. He needs some canned music that we have the copyrights to.
How happy are you right now, Stugotz, that we got away from this discussion?
Thrilled.
It's a tricky one because he was replaced by McMillan. What do I do?
Endorsements.
Name drop.
Go ahead. What do we got?
All right, so this is how it works, guys. This is because I was inspired, Dan, by your story yesterday and the woolly mammoth and the dinosaur and all that stuff and the name drop that you threw out there. So I figured a fun game that we could all play. We go around the room and we tell a name drop, but we have to out-drop each other, all right? So I'll get the ball rolling. One time, I played in a media softball game with Adam Cooperstein.
Wow, Coop.
Okay. So Billy
Name
is
drop.
Nice drop.
All right, so Billy is starting the bidding. Roy, would you like to? Do you have any desire to play name drop?
Not really, but I'll give one. I was almost ran over by Shaquille O'Neal in a beach cruiser. Name drop.
Wow.
Chris,
Name drop.
Chris Cote, thank you. You can keep doing that. Chris Cote, what do you have for us in the way of a name drop?
Guys, remember that time I drove Bill Simmons from his hotel to the studio?
Name drop.
Okay, excellent.
You're supposed
work.
to outdo
Yeah,
the person in
that's
front of you.
okay. We're limping
I think
in.
Coop is winning still.
We're limping in here. Whittingham, do you have a decent name drop?
Yeah, well, Mike and I went to England once, and we went to a Fulham match, and I watched a Fulham match with Sam Smith. Name
drop?
Yeah, everyone
Who?
finds your name drop pathetic. It's
I thought it was Mike at first as the name drop. Who's Sam Smith?
Sports. It's
Sam,
sports.
you don't know who Sam Smith is?
The singer?
Common name.
The singer?
The singer Sam Smith?
Yeah, the singer.
Wow, that's
Oh,
impressive.
won't you
Yeah, please don't do that again.
Yeah, I'm interested in where you went with Sam Smith over Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant was also there.
Hugh Grant was there?
Name drop. Name drop.
Cody, what do you have?
At a legal retreat once, I met the daughter of the only NFL kicker to ever win the MVP award, Mark Mosley. Name drop. I forget her name.
Hold on, Dad. Tell him about that golf starter that we run into every once in a while.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's another one. We play at a course where the starter is the son of the late, great baseball manager Earl Weaver.
Wow.
How about that?
All of them very weak. They don't deserve. They're not bombs. They're like tiny firecrackers.
Dreamweaver.
What do you have, Stugotz? What would you identify as your name drop?
There's really no other way to say this. I had to leave the show early. I had dinner with Dan Marino. Name drop. Dan the man.
So you should have seen me and Dan Patrick just cutting it up at Dan's wedding.
DP. Don't use them all here, Chris. Have to do this again tomorrow. Name drop.
I love this game. It's great.
It's awesome. I love the fact that you guys clearly rehearse this and are great at really delivering the showbiz aspects of name drop here, that you've got all your timing, synchronicity, and chronology right here. Choreography. So what is it? Choreography.
You actually started this game yesterday.
I know, that's what he's saying, that I did it
Sal.
but I feel like I just won. I won with Sal yesterday. I still got the winning hand. Who beats me?
No. They don't cross over from day to day, Dan. You need a new name drop today.
Yep. Right now I'm winning. I got Marino.
Those are the rules. Everybody knows it.
All right, so does Stugotz win if I limp in with played roulette in Monaco with Paris Hilton? Because I was going to go, I feel
name
like
name drop.
Climb the Great Wall with Michael Jordan, but I feel like you guys are tired of that.
Don't use them all.
Right.
I got a lot.
You saved the Jordan one for a special day.
How have you never told the roulette anecdote on the air?
Because I didn't think it was that interesting. I don't find Paris Hilton that interesting. I'm just trying to win. I'm just trying to beat Cooperstein. Like, I'm limping in with something.
Round 2 of name drop. Bring out the big guns, guys. If you
I was almost ran over by Shaquille O'Neal.
All right, guys.
You know what, Roy? I do think you won that one. I've got to beat. It was almost ran over by Shaquille O'Neal.
He wasn't in a car. It was just Shaq.
That's enough name drop for today. Roy wins today.
Stugotz here. I love telling you about ZipRecruiter. Been supporting me, Dan, the entire show for many, many years. We appreciate them. And listen, the best teams start with great talent, but finding the right people can be a challenge. But when it comes to hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter can help you find the right candidates for your team fast. From healthcare to manufacturing to business services and more. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. When you post a job on ZipRecruiter, it gets sent out to over 100 top job sites with one click. Then ZipRecruiter's matching technology scans thousands of resumes and profiles to send you the most qualified people for your job. If you're really interested in a candidate, simple. You invite them to apply for your job. With one click, ZipRecruiter sends them an email from you, and you stand out from the competition. It's so effective that 4 to 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. And right now, to try ZipRecruiter for free, my listeners can go to ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/DAN. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Lloyd Bridges.
Go ahead, have at it. Like if you got
I do have something on there. I saw it
on Lloyd Bridges.
On the Lloyd Pierce. I saw it become a thing, and he hasn't been good as a head coach.
Go
right?
ahead. Let's go.
He's been 63 and 120 as a head coach. He got fired.
Part of the problem, I don't know what happened with the relationship there with John Collins and the Hawks and maybe Lloyd Pierce, but part of this too might be because of the pandemic. I was talking to John Collins on my podcast, Chelsea Mic'd Up. You can listen to Goran Dragic on this week's episode, by the way. That was the longest period of time that John Collins had gone without playing basketball.
You did that very nicely. Hold on. Tell people about that again in case they want to find yet another podcast from our sprawling podcast people. Go ahead and tell them again why Goran Dragic was on your podcast.
Goran Dragic is on this week's podcast because it's an NBA All-Star theme, and as you know, the Dragon, which is a former NBA All-Star, we try to pin him down and find out which team he supports. And I try to convince him to support Chelsea. It's fun. We like to have fun on that show. And the co-star is Chris Whittingham, the neutral observer. But John Collins hadn't played basketball for a very long time. These teams, remember there was talk about having a secondary bubble for teams that hadn't make the playoffs. Those are generally young teams, and those players miss a big key part in their development. So I think that's part of what's going on there, and I understand you can absolutely call into question what that general manager has done, even though they won the offseason and the signings that they made were not exactly met with all sorts of criticism. Everyone pegged Atlanta to be better. And now the same people that were saying, hey, those were good signings are saying, well, this is super unfair to Lloyd Pierce, but I don't understand. Like, they need to make a change there.
Oh, I want to be clear to the audience, and I don't think I was, because I'm not sitting here arguing, and I don't mean to argue at all, that Lloyd Pierce was wrong, okay? Because I think what this discussion is going to be about is when it is, and people will argue about this too, the kind of wide berth white leaders get versus black leaders, and we can have that conversation. And there's a bunch of places here where you could say, hey, this isn't the white-black thing happening. This is a team with expectations, be better. It's not about injuries or pandemic, be better. Like, you can make the arguments on behalf of this firing. What I'm saying to you, and the only thing, I'm not making any accusations here. I'm simply making the argument on how Nate McMillan and Atlanta Hawks fans and black players and black customers might look at this and be like, hey, we're keeping an eye on this because the power in our company is still white and the people getting fired are still between the power in our company and our black customer base that just changed America with its voting process. All I'm telling you is keep an eye on it as a symbol in sports in Atlanta because it's worth watching when Nate McMillan has to ask permission of the guy I was calling Lloyd Bridges.
But is the feeling that the GM should also, if you're going to fire the coach, fire the GM? Is that kind of
do that? But I don't know how that helps a team get better right now. It's an expanded playoff, so they're still certainly within that game right now of getting into the playoffs. Trae Young was a borderline all-star. As much as they whiffed on Luka Doncic, it could do a hell of a lot worse than Trae Young. They have pieces. Firing the GM isn't going to make that team immediately better. Lloyd Pierce, understandably, difficult during a pandemic, difficult circumstances, team that went a long time without playing and now missing a bunch of its players. I don't know what happened with the John Collins thing. He seems pretty talented. Who knows? You thought that you had a really nice young core over there. They added pieces. It hadn't worked out. He hasn't been good over there. It's really hard to make an argument for Lloyd Pierce. You can stomp your feet and say, well, it's been unfair because of all these mitigating circumstances. The GM could easily point and say, I gave you tools.
Didn't he make his mark in the NBA as a talent evaluator, as a player development guy? And so he hasn't developed players. I mean,
but again, 104 games missed or whatever it was to injury. Look, I'm more interested in understanding without feeling like accusations or without even arguing. I'm not interested whether someone deserved or didn't deserve to be fired. That's not the part of this discussion that I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is when I see, oh, wait, look, Alvin Gentry. This is how power changes. Alvin Gentry is someone that they were thinking about there for a while. And then where my mind goes is I remember when Alvin Gentry got his first job, and it was a big deal here with the Miami Heat. And I remember writing a column about the specifics. Will Alvin Gentry be able to reach the black player more than the white coach? Like, this is a long time ago, and Alvin Gentry, from that point, as a bit of a pioneer, Stugotz, has gotten to actually be the coach who gets retread in all of these circumstances and doesn't have success. So he becomes like Stan Van Gundy, where you got two guys who keep getting chances. Because in this case, like, this is how you get a little closer to the power, Stugotz, because in Atlanta, they kind of have to hire a black coach. And that's where white people will get really mad. What do you mean? Why? Why can't it be on merit? Why can't it just be equality? Your customers, your coaches, your power, your moneymakers, your people, the labor, the bodies who are objecting to the way the Seattle Mariners are run, where the bodies are commodities, are telling you, hey, we got an eye on you in Atlanta. Look at the politics around our arena in Atlanta, segregated Atlanta, where some of the civil rights fights were. We want the right to also be bad several times as a coach, the way Kevin Loughery got in Atlanta. We want Alvin Gentry, who replaced Kevin Loughery, to be Kevin. And he has. He's come close. Alvin Gentry has come close to becoming. Hey, he squandered Anthony Davis, Stugotz. Alvin Gentry got another shot and squandered Anthony Davis. And now Stan Van Gundy gets to squander the team of Anthony Davis. And that's real equality.
Well, yeah. Pierce is getting replaced by who? Nate McMillan, who is now in that retread cycle. I understand what you're saying, and it's something to keep an eye on. Generally, firing a GM in the middle of the season is not going to help you get better. I imagine if they continue to be a disappointment, he'll lose his job. But I think this is much ado about nothing.
Lloyd Pierce got a longer run than Kevin Loughery. How about that?
Well, and Kevin Loughery anywhere. Let's go through the Kevin Loughery. Let's do this with Locke. Let's do this because Kevin Loughery
Never thought we'd arrive here, Dan.
Harold. You're Wow.
Back door.
Go ahead and call fake Kevin Loughery. See if we can.
I have sound of fake Kevin Loughery.
Let's see if we go into the library. So Kevin Loughery was not the original Miami Heat coach. Let me tell this story because this is funny. So the Miami Heat is an organization of loyalists and lifers, and everyone stays forever. And Ron Rothstein went from the original Heat coach to now he's damn near 80, and he's just yelling at the telestrator for the producers to just
Go forward.
Work magical machine.
Roll it.
He's
Stop
great.
it. Go back.
He is great. Seriously, he's awesome.
He is. And so Ron Rothstein has been able, as the original Heat coach, he also coached the Miami Soul, like just a lifer in the Heat organization. But right after...
Or as Tracy Morgan likes to call it, the Miami Soul.
So we go from Ron Rothstein to Kevin Loughery, and we're going to empty the fake Kevin Loughery file in a second if Mike's got anything there. We own our library. Loughery.
I think it's saved under fake Howard, so let me try that.
All right, so...
There's not a K in there?
Fake Kevin Loughery was one of the original Heat coaches. Let's just go through his retread resume, Stugotz, as you tell us the longest place that he's ever been. So just go through the coaching cycle because Alvin Gentry has become Kevin Loughery, and hallelujah, we've reached real basketball equality when it comes to retreading coaches because basketball does retread the Nate McMillans and the Alvin Gentry. So Kevin Loughery's resume is... Just give us teams and number of years, and I'm setting the over-under. Mike, where would you put the over-under? I'm going to put the over-under on 9 teams for Kevin Loughery as an NBA head coach. Roy, no? That's too high or too low, Roy?
As a head coach, I don't think he got 9 jobs. As an assistant, probably, but as a head coach, now nowhere near.
Roy, what are you thinking here?
Well, I'm looking at the stats now, so it's too high.
Okay, let's see what we have here. It's how I remember. Guy who always got jobs again and again.
All right, he started off in Philadelphia, a little cup of coffee. He was 5-26, 31 games, and missed the playoffs, was fired. Then was hired 3 years later by the Knicks. Had 1 year there, 22-60.
No, that's wrong. It was the New York Nets at the ABA, and then they moved to New Jersey when they went to the NBA. It wasn't the Knicks.
All right, so it was the Nets. My bad, Roy. The Nets, then to New Jersey. So he had 76 through 81 in New Jersey. Then he had 2 years in Atlanta, 42-40, 43 and 39. Then he went to Chicago right after being fired by the Atlanta Hawks the next year, 83, 84, 84, 85, just missed Michael. He went 27-55, 38 and 44. Then he went to Washington the very next season after being fired by the Bulls, and he went 7-6. Was that a strike-shortened season? I have no idea. Then they went 42-40, and then 8-19, and he was fired by Washington. And then the Heatles grabbed him 3 years later, and he had a 4-year run with the Heat, in which they never did better than 42-40.
And that was the end of it? That was the last job for Kevin Loughery?
Yep, that was back in 1995. His career record was 474 and 662. So how many teams was that? Philadelphia, the Nets, that's 2, Hawks 3, Bulls 4, Washington 5, The Heat's 6. He had 16.
No, any of them more than 3 years? It didn't sound like, or I guess the Heat were 4 years, you said. So I don't think it didn't sound like there was more than 4 years anywhere. Mike has fervently been looking. Mike, I think you're going to have to make a live phone call to the fake Kevin Loughery to see if he still can muster the impersonation from 15 years ago of Harold Miner being beaten on a backdoor cut.
Locke's teams never advance past the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, to give you an idea of how old this soundbite is that I'm looking for, I think it was saved in the shortcut, not on the J drive. There was an actual sound machine that you would put clips in, and you would edit it in there. It's called a
So
shortcut.
we don't have anything that we are
Keep
not
searching
able.
Loughery, Harold, backdoor. I can't find it. So
All
let
right,
me
so
call fake Kevin Loughery.
Do you want? Okay, we're going to all sit around and we're going to see. We're going to call him live and ask if fake Kevin Loughery, who has not been brought out of retirement in many, many years, the payoff is going to be. Greg, give us all your expertise. Tell the people about Kevin Loughery, your memories of covering Kevin Loughery.
I don't remember much about Kevin Loughery other than the fact that he was an unsuccessful coach, really. I don't remember too much of his personality. I don't think I covered the Heat much at all that far back. When did he coach the Heat? Like late 80s? When was it? Early 90s?
It's before your time, Cody? I didn't think there was a before your time in this market. I didn't think
Like the Cretaceous period?
91 to 95.
Yeah.
Harold, back door. Those were years when I actually covered the Dolphins full time as a beat guy. So I didn't deal much with Kevin.
Harold, back door. Didn't you only cover the Dolphins one season?
No, I covered them 3 seasons. 90 and 90, no, 91 and 92 and into 93, something like that. I don't remember exactly.
I don't understand, Greg Cote. This was the age where you were growing into a Miami Herald columnist. How do you not remember covering the coach of 4 years of the Miami Heat when they were one of 2 teams that we had in town and we did not yet have the Marlins? How do you not remember the Kevin Loughery years?
Well, of course I remember the Kevin Loughery years. I just don't remember dealing with him very much because that was a time when I was a full-time Dolphins writer. I don't know how else to put it. I didn't go to many Heat games at that time when I was covering the Dolphins. I mean,
he's a great shooting god.
It's a very poor Kevin Loughery.
Dusty Rhodes?
It's a very limited. Well, it's got. I mean,
maybe.
It might
You know
be.
what?
You know what?
Maybe.
You know what? He is a violent sneezer.
In Greg's defense, what does anyone remember about Kevin Loughery? I mean,
He's a great shooting god.
Harold, back door. I just realized who that is.
You did?
Harold, back door. Was that our only impressionist 10 years ago?
He's a great shooting god.
We didn't have much of a stable. We just had that pathetic accent. And that is the library we took with us from ESPN.
He's a great shooting god.
ESPN does not have the rights to that sound.
Harold, back door.
It's all ours. We left ESPN when Chris Cote was fired, and we took our library with us.
He's a great shooting god.
They didn't fight for this?
ESPN tried to keep that from us, and we're like, we'll take Mickey Mouse. And they're like, absolutely not, so we get to keep this.
Back door.
They convinced you that this is a win for you.
Harold.
I was yelling in the meetings. I'm like, you got to give me fake Kevin Loughery. You don't get to keep him. And then I send one of my lawyers in.
No, we want him, Dan. You can't take that.
Harold.
It's my intellectual property. It's my intellectual property.
Harold.
You don't know what I can make out of it. I'm going to conquer the world with it.
He's a great shooting god.
Stugotz here. Let's take a minute for my friends at Advance Auto Parts, our friends at Advance Auto Parts. Listen, Dan and I ask the bare minimum. That's what we ask of you, the audience, okay? Take care of the people who support this show, who get the show, and Advance Auto Parts has been supporting this show for years now, and they get the show, and they have truly become friends with me, Dan, the shipping container, the entire Le Batard Show crew. We love them. We love them. So take good care of them. Why? Because they take good care of us, because they get the show, because I'm telling you to. How about that? Have you heard about their advanced same-day offers? Amazing. Get this. Advance offers free curbside pickup and free in-store pickup within 30 minutes on most in-stock products. 30 minutes. That's the kind of speed that gets you back on the road with the parts you need fast. So head to your Advance Auto Parts store today. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Stugotz was beating up J.J. Watt for choosing the Cardinals during the break, and we have to get to this because there does seem to be some accusations of marketing and J.J. Watt maximizing being Captain America. J.J. Watt, since the beginning, Stugotz, the thing that has felt a little inauthentic about him among critics like you is it has felt since the beginning like J.J. Watt is trying to live up to whatever the mythologies are of what you believe an athlete should be in terms of being Captain America, but has camouflaged it pretty well in a way that others who are cynical can say, hey, is this all a marketing play for him? Is he really about the stuff that he says he's about, or is he just grabbing at more money and stats because he's one of the rare guys who gets to not be quite so disposable in that sport where you're on defense and you're valuable because he's the guy from the commercials? There are not a lot of guys, there are not a lot of position players who get to be the guy in the commercial because they so represent Captain America. I'll be the mythology that you need from your sports guy, even though there's some criticism out there now that you're hearing from players. But before we get to that, I need to get to what Greg Cote just did during the break, which I found shocking. And it's not just forgetting the Kevin Loughery years that he covered. It's forgetting what Kevin Loughery looks like, because he said, Kevin Loughery, good-looking man. And I insist that the audience, and I'm not saying anyone's bad-looking, but I am saying that this is one of the first thoughts that anyone has had in the United States who isn't Mrs. Loughery, that Greg Cote has looked at Kevin Loughery and said, very handsome man. I simply want you all to Google the coach who originally had Michael Jordan and got 1,000 games of losing because he originally had Michael Jordan. I want you to tell me whether the first thing you think of, Billy, I want all of you to look at Kevin Loughery. Roy, do you even remember? You must be. You were a young man, but you must remember, Roy, what Kevin Loughery looked like. Did you look at Kevin Loughery and just have the thought, manatee, that's me. I'm the manatee idol. Manatee idol. Am I saying that word right?
I don't know.
I don't know what is happening.
Manatee idol.
Idol?
Matinee.
Thank
Matinee?
you.
Matinee idol?
Whoa.
Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, that was such a terrible pronunciation of that word that I was genuinely thrown.
It was a different word,
It was
Mike.
manatee idol.
That's what I am. I'm a manatee idol. So, Billy, I want you to Google Kevin Loughery and tell me, look at Chris, you're showing me a photo of a disheveled Kevin Loughery coming home from work.
I got to tell you, I have a picture here of Kevin Loughery with the Heat, and Greg is right. He got better looking as he got older. He's a handsome man. He really is.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
A looker.
Look at that shock of beautiful white hair.
Anyway,
He looks like a college-age Bob Ryan.
Wow.
Perfect.
That is a very good description. All right, and now put it on the poll, Guillermo. Does a college-aged Bob Ryan give off good looking? Yes or no? At Le Batard Show. The matinee idol is trying to ask Stugotz a J.J. Watt question. Jesus Christ. A J.J. Watt question. Have at it, Stugotz.
The interesting thing about J.J. Watt, why he's being criticized, is everyone thought him leaving was about winning. And maybe it is a tad about winning, but it's mostly about money. J.J. Watt went to the team that was willing to pay him the most amount of money to play football next season that wasn't the Houston Texans, and he chose the Arizona Cardinals. I made the joke yesterday, he should just wear the American flag. He picked the uniform that is closest to the American flag. I mean, Dan, it's not about winning with J.J. Watt. It's never about winning with J.J. Watt. It's always about J.J. Watt, and it's about money. Okay, and perhaps I'm taking a look in the mirror and I don't like what I see. Okay, maybe that's why I don't.
You
like
don't believe
Watt.
the one wayward report from someone we haven't heard report these things before that said J.J. Watt didn't take the offer that had the most money attached to it. That would have been Cleveland. You don't believe that?
No,
me neither.
Are we sure that the Cardinals uniform is the one in sports that is most like the American flag? It's got the red and white. I think
that would be the Patriots.
There's no blue.
Yeah, the
It's
Patriots.
The Patriots.
There's no blue. There's no blue in the Cardinals uniforms. It's red and white.
I'm with Stugotz on this. It kind of looks like an American flag, the Cardinals. Red, white.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Looks more like an American flag, the Arizona Cardinals uniform or the New England Patriots uniform. The J.J. Watt criticism is not only coming from Stugotz, who is the player who has dared to put his name on public J.J. Watt criticism. He might not be. Is this the first player we've ever heard say J.J. Watt's a me guy? That's not something you get. Who's ever lobbed that at J.J. Watt with their name on it before?
So this came from Josh Reed. Mike, is he a reporter, Josh Reed? It looks like, he's a sports director up in Buffalo. He said he spoke to someone who was on the Texans coaching staff with Watt, and the review wasn't glowing. He's a selfish guy, only cared about his stats. He does a lot of things that hurt the defense. He hurt us more than he helped us, and finally, I wouldn't want him.
Okay, but anonymous, right? So weak ass sauce. Like, it's not someone putting their name on anything.
Well, someone who was with the Texans coaching staff.
Okay, but then what is?
Okay,
it's weak. It's just something you'd say with the shadows of anonymity because a guy has left your team and we don't know. You're just a guy who said a thing about J.J. Watt, and it shouldn't even actually be repeated because it's a coward who's not willing to put his name on it.
I like it.
So do I. What are you doing to the reporter there?
Yeah.
I mean, he has a source. He went to him.
No,
I mean,
it's not the reporter.
Anonymous.
It's that.
You called it ass sauce.
I thought that it was a guy willing to put his name on something. Somebody, a player. No, JJ, anonymous from the shadows, darkness, throwing arrows at J.J. Watt. Put your name on it. You chickens. I'm going to go the Mike Greenberg route. It pays. You chickens. Put your name on it. We gas sauce.
It's a great point by Chris. The Texans uniform looks more like the American flag.
You guys see that video of Myles Garrett doing a 64-inch vert on a plyometric box?
He's a badass.
Oh my
I made
God.
that point.
Oh my God.
You see him playing hoops?
Yeah.
You see DK Metcalf's dunk?
DK Metcalf's?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, you got to see this. I'll show you.
Cody, J.J. Watt, your thoughts are what there of just him? Are you buying the Captain America mythology?
No, I think he's overly criticized. I don't, and also I think that the whole rap on him that he's all about marketing and self-promotion, that's it. Why the hell are you going to Arizona then, which is literally and figuratively a desert? I mean, it's not a major market in the NFL context. He could have done a lot bigger stages than Arizona. So I think he gets a bad rap. And the other thing is he backs it up. First of all, he looks like Mr. America. He's got a beautiful jawline. But the other thing is, look at his sack total. He's the real deal. I mean, he's had a great career. He is probably a Hall of Famer. And I think he's fine. I have no problem with his public persona or the way that he manipulates it. That's fine with me.
Not surprising that Greg Cote would be okay with J.J. Watt, a man who celebrates J.J. Watt. I mean, that's a man after Greg Cote's heart right there, because Greg Cote loves himself.
Well, what's happening here where Stugotz isn't liking what he sees in the mirror and Greg Cote is in one of these positions where he loves what he sees in the mirror?
Manatee.
Are we holding against him the fact that he went to Arizona? Because they did pay a lot of money, and he said that he wanted to go compete for a Super Bowl. And since that's not the first team that we associate with favorites to win the Super Bowl, we're like, well, I thought you wanted to win.
Are you mad at him for not choosing Cleveland?
Obviously. It would have been badass to have him opposite Myles Garrett. Can you imagine J.J. Watt finally facing a single team? That pairing, that would have been incredible.
He's playing, Dan. That's the worst team in that division, the Cardinals.
Well, what's the reporting been, though, on the money in Cleveland and Arizona? How clear is it that he just chose most money?
I don't believe it. I don't believe it just because, and no, it might be true, who knows, but after he signed for a big number, we thought that, okay, he got released from Houston in part. Yeah, it was mutual, but there was no way they were bringing him back at that cap number. He actually got that same amount of money elsewhere. We kind of thought, okay, he's at this stage in his career, and the messaging is that he wants to win. Probably not going to go the Kansas City Chiefs route because that's too easy, but maybe Buffalo, maybe Green Bay, maybe Cleveland, and obviously people get really excited because can you imagine that pairing? For what it is that J.J. Watt does, going after the quarterback, that's the most logical place.
Double-teamed.
Yeah.
He was. J.J. Watt last year was double teamed, not just more than Myles Garrett, who was about as unblockable from that side for edge rushers as anybody in the sport. Never mind just this year, but just anybody you've ever seen. Like Lawrence Taylor conjuring, Myles Garrett was not double-teamed last year as much as J.J. Watt was.
He did miss games. It probably would have been closer than that, but I think part of it is his brother.
Weakened later in the season because of the virus.
Yeah, he missed He missed 2 games, too. So I think part of it is his brother plays in the division. His brother is a better defensive player than he is at this point, was close to winning Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think he wanted to stand in his brother's way in that division ultimately, and he went to the NFC. It's an odd choice. They were never rumored. So that's another part of it, too. We were all doing this slew thing, and we were kind of let down. Like, really? Arizona? That's where you decided to go? Or some people might pick you 4th in that division? So it was just curious. And then you see the number attached, and then sure as shit, the reports come out. He didn't take the most money. Okay. All right. He didn't take the most money because the agent is probably making sure that the team doesn't feel bad because they were negotiating against themselves. I don't believe this.
I mean, he took the most money. That's what J.J. Watt does. I'm not certain I wouldn't do the same thing, by the way.
Cleveland had a lot of money. He may have just not wanted to go to Cleveland because his brother's in the division.
No, Mike, the problem is you're going to tell everyone how badly you want to win, and at the end of the day, you don't really want to win that badly. You chose the Arizona Cardinals. That's who you chose.
You can make a good argument for Arizona, though. They have the weapons, and don't discount the fact that DeAndre Hopkins is over there recruiting him probably.
Probably, but I can make an argument against the Cardinals. They're not making the playoffs. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. That's the argument.
Well, the thing that was being reported, because Ed Werder says, quote, I was told J.J. Watt's first criteria in choosing his team would be the quality of his quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers could have been his quarterback in Green Bay. But you're saying he took the money, that's what he always does. J.J. Watt hasn't played for anyone else. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what?
He hasn't had to. The money's always been there for him.
He takes the money, that's what he hasn't. He's not like a mercenary free agent. Like, what are you talking about?
But he wanted to leave because at the tail end of his career, he wanted a chance to
win. But you said that
win.
what he always does is take the money. Give me the second example, not the always example. Give me the second example of J.J. Watt always taking the money.
There is no second example. I just said that to hammer home my point.
Okay.
The American flag.
All right.
What are you going to do now?
All right. Well, I
What you
lose.
got,
I'm going to be the manatee idol.
Nothing in life is free. Time for some ads.
All right, let's take a second here for our friends at Advance Auto Parts. I love telling you about Advance Auto Parts. They always have our back. Been with us for years. We appreciate their commitment to the show. They get the show. Unlike any other sponsor we've had, I think. They get the show. Have you heard about their advanced same-day offers? Get this advance offer, free curbside pickup and free in-store pickup within 30 minutes on most in-stock products. That's the kind of speed that gets you back on the road with the parts you need and gets you there fast. So head to your Advance Auto Parts store today. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. He chose Kyler Murray over Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, that's...
No, not over Aaron Rodgers. Come on.
You can make the argument Kyler Murray.
That Cardinals team's a good young team.
I guess technically he chose him over Deshaun Watson. If it was about the quarterback, just stay there.
We got super excited about Kyler Murray during the season, then we kind of overrated him a little bit because I think he's right there in that class. Like, probably just a hair below that class, but he's a good player. That division's a complete toss-up. And if Seattle continues to implode the way they have this offseason, that becomes 2 wins instead of 2 losses. It was just curious. And then when you see the number attached to that contract, you're like, okay, well, that's the reason.
Yeah.
When really I'm just hurt that he chose Arizona over Cleveland, which I think anybody would.
Well,
in terms of just where do I want to live?
Arizona, certainly. Where do I want to win? I can't believe I'm saying it's Cleveland, but it's Cleveland.
I can't believe that you're saying it's Cleveland.
Oh, it's Cleveland over Arizona.
I really appreciated the stuff that was happening on social media, which is you don't care about winning, and the argument for winning was the Cleveland Browns. I'm like, this is just so foreign to me.
Do you think that he didn't want to be in Myles Garrett's shadow? Because that would play to ego that everybody associates with Watt.
If they do winning in Arizona, he's going to be one of the reasons, especially defensively. He becomes a face of that defense, where he will not be the face of the defense in Cleveland. Best he can be is co-face of the defense. That would have been really awesome to see, though. I think football nerds everywhere would have loved to have seen Watt and Myles Garrett on opposite edges double someone. We dare you.
Greg, I was getting into, speaking of faces, I was trying to get in with you the Mr. Potato Head controversy that you were talking about, a toy from the 1950s. Explain to the audience, I got to imagine there's a good amount of the audience, even though it's self-explanatory, that has no idea what this toy is. So explain to people the Mr. Potato Head controversy.
Well, the controversy is you have a set. You have a Mr. Potato Head and a Mrs. Potato Head. And the manufacturer, Hasbro, came out late last week and basically announced that they're going to make the potato head gender free. They're going to take away the Mr. and the Mrs. And there was a big backlash to that. And then the company immediately comes out and says, "Oh, wait a minute, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head ain't going anywhere. We're still," because they wanted to encourage kids to not think in terms of gender as much and to be free to have two Mr. Two Misters or two Misses as the married potato couple, and so it's a funny controversy that's perfect for this age.
Okay, no, explain it again though, because it seems like it's a funny controversy that's perfect for this age, and yet it's got enough landmines that you tiptoed around it very clumsily and very poorly because you were afraid of all of the funny in it, all of it, that you don't know where the Misters and the Misses need to go on the potato, and you don't want to discuss this in the funny way. You just want to lob it my way and have it be funny as you tiptoe clumsily around whether the potato should be a Mr. or Mrs. You don't know how to do this with any grace whatsoever. Where's the funny in it? What's the funny?
Okay, look,
Do I need to send you back to the toilet?
I played with Mr. Potato Head as a kid, right? And I was a big fan of Mr. Potato Head. It was my favorite toy for like 2 years. And it's always been a blank palette, just like a real baked potato is a blank palette. You can put any. Christopher and I discussed this on the latest podcast, the Greg Cote Show. But anyway, you always could do whatever you wanted. I was putting dresses on Mr. Potato Head in 1961.
Name drop. I played with Mr. Potato Head. How about you kids? Did any of you kids play with Mr. Potato Head? I played with Mr. Potato Head.
Wait, this is the second time you're having this discussion?
Let me explain to you. I played with Mr. Potato Head, and let me tell you something else, whippersnappers. He didn't have genitalia of any kind. He was just a head. Just a head. He was not a he or a she.
It was an actual potato.
It was just a head.
With it.
It was genderless. There was no genitalia because we didn't go down that low. It was just a potato and it had legs and it had no dick.
Mr. Potato Dick.
Mr. Potato Head. The head was just a head. Don't do anything else with it. It was just a head.
It is creepy when you think about it. Although he did have real tiny little short stubby legs and big shoes, clown shoes. It's a great toy, I'm telling you.
He brings up a good point. It's ahead of its time, this toy. We've been putting dresses on Mr. Potato Head for decades.
Billy, do you know anything about Mr. Potato Head? Are you familiar with the Mr. Potato Head? Kind of died as a toy.
No.
Toy Story brought it back to life.
Yeah.
It's still going strong.
It's still,
yeah,
it just
stronger
made the
than
toy,
ever, I would say.
And it just made the Toy Hall of Fame. I mean,
My daughter has one.
Yeah.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Mr. Potato Head, Toy Hall of Famer, yes or no? It just got in. That's late, isn't it? Isn't Mr. Potato Head? Shouldn't Mr. Potato Head be a first ballot Hall of Famer in terms of toys? This is not Joakim Noah of the Toy Kingdom getting into the Hall of Fame. This is closer to Jordan, is it not?
It should be a first ballot toy. I'm checking the year that it got in. Yeah.
Can we yell at that head of the toy museum that we like to yell at every year because it took so long for Mr. How long ago did Mr. Potato Head get in? Mr. Potato Head.
2000.
Okay,
so 21 years ago.
It just got in. You
Again.
I mean, Jesus Christ, Stugotz. Can you get a fact right around here? A fact. One fact.
Married potato couple.
It was right. I love Greg Cote because, Mike, it is getting harder and harder to do the show with Greg Cote because every once in a while there's a stray. I felt bad for Woody Allen, and we all have to rush into the breach and be like, okay, wait a minute, we got to figure out what here is okay and what's not okay. Did you see how he tried to do the potato head thing where he's like, hey guys, it's funny, right? The genderless thing. And then he just looked at it and look now swigging from his drink because
left it for us.
Yeah, it's like, you guys want to talk about the genitalia of Mr. Potato Head, or because I'm just going to sit this one out.
People have often asked me what this show is about, and I don't. It's a show. It's an ensemble cast. It's a show about a show, and today's episode is just this show descending into senility. Not just with Greg, but
too.
with Lloyd Bridges,
me too. Yeah.
and Manatee Idol.
Yeah, me too.
It's hard to. We're a podcast now. We should have scrubbed this because I think we're
like to.
lowering our own price.
I've been wanting to go back and do that over for an hour, and I'm like, nope, I got to be the butt of the joke here. It was that bad. It was that incompetent that it doesn't allow me any room to make fun of anyone else's incompetence today. It's allowing Stugotz again and again to checkmate me with a word because it was that. For
like a week.
For all the yelling, I feel like it's going to become Aqua Super Bowl weekend, mama. Like it deserves to be. Like it should be. Yes, it should be our safe word. Like what was it that Ted Lasso said the safe word was for total honesty between partners? I feel it should be your checkmate me at every turn. Just call me, and we never explain it. You just say matinee.
Just stay away from it.
You say manatee, and that's it. It's just the checkmate for all time.
Every once in a while, you'll notice that. All right, here comes bread and butter. It's Spo in the final moments of a game. ISO hero ball for either Jimmy Butler or Dwayne Wade, and we were carving out the lane. Societal point by Dan. This is the bread and butter here, folks, and totally undone by a gif of Lloyd Bridges putting a tissue paper between both his ears.
You know what? 2 words for you. Sue me.
Stugotz here. I love telling you about ZipRecruiter. Been supporting me, Dan, the entire show for many, many years. We appreciate them. And listen, the best teams start with great talent, but finding the right people can be a challenge. But when it comes to hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter can help you find the right candidates for your team fast. From healthcare to manufacturing to business services and more. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. When you post a job on ZipRecruiter, it gets sent out to over 100 top job sites with one click. Then ZipRecruiter's matching technology scans thousands of resumes and profiles to send you the most qualified people for your job. If you're really interested in a candidate, simple. You invite them to apply for your job. With one click, ZipRecruiter sends them an email from you, and you stand out from the competition. It's so effective that 4 to 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. And right now, to try ZipRecruiter for free, my listeners can go to ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/DAN. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Visually, you couldn't get funnier Lloyd.
I know. Lloyd Bridges is so good. It's just so good. It just can't be older. Like, I somehow out-olded Cody. I still don't know whether Lloyd Bridges is the father or the grandfather of
He's
Jeff
the father.
Bridges.
He's the father.
Woody, what year were you born in?
92.
God damn.
6 years later, Lloyd Bridges died.
Woody, do you know Mr. Potato Head? Is that a toy that you grew up with?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like for kids of my generation, it's Toy Story. Like that's how we think of Mr. Potato Head.
Okay, so he was reinvented with Toy Story, and he got in on the second ballot. He was not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He was a second, and I think he got robbed. I think he was put, I think Greg Cote is somebody who would keep Mr. Potato Head out on the first ballot. Third ballot? It was the third ballot, Roy?
No, second.
Second ballot, okay.
I see it as the third ballot here.
No, there's a 98, 99 ballot, and then there was 2017 in 98, 99. Too many for a Hall of Fame. That's too many.
No, there were those steroid rumors swirling around Mr. Potato Head, but I would have put him in the first ballot. I really would have. It's just a classic American toy.
So when you think of the funny in the Mr. Potato Head controversy, have we now squeezed all of the funny out of the potato, or is there somewhere else that we could go with the Mr. Potato Head controversy that would have some contributions from Greg Cote that would be dangerous and ribald?
Well, to me, the funny part of the story was this major toy company, Hasbro, making a blatantly politically correct move by degendering the potato heads, and then immediately, because there might have been some sort of backlash, 2 days later, they essentially put out a press release contradicting themselves and saying Mr. and Mrs. Potato ain't going anywhere. But on the new packaging, they have really downplayed it. The words Mr. and Mrs. are now on the bottom, and Potato Head is in neon on top.
I have a question that we're kind of glossing over. Have you never seen Toy Story, Dan? Like, I guess I just took it for granted because I was growing up and I watched Toy Story, and people with kids
I've never
have seen
it.
Toy Story.
No. I mean, I'm assuming that Buzz Lightyear is from that world. I have no working cultural knowledge of what Toy Story is. None, because I didn't have kids. So you're anything you guys tell me here outside, I'm not even sure Buzz Lightyear is in this world. Hell, if you guys want to quiz me here, you will see my ignorance exposed because I have no idea. I couldn't be any less.
Buzz Lightyear's from Harry Potter. That's different. That's a different thing. Yeah.
Wait, do you guys have Mr. Potato Head or Potato Head as a toy for your kids? Do any of you?
Yes, my daughter has a Mr. Potato Head.
I'm telling you, stronger than ever, Dan.
Yeah, I wish I still had mine. Toy Story was great. Nothing makes me sadder than a down in the dumps Woody. You know,
I cried in Toy Story 3.
Sad,
cried.
oh my God.
Everyone did.
Yeah,
You and me both.
Yeah, crazy.
Dan, you could skip 1 and 2. Well, actually, no.
No.
To get the full punch of what happens in 3, you have to go along this ride with them. Many of us grew up with these toys. It's a remarkable story of
We were
perseverance.
Andy.
Mm-hmm.
Which one has that creepy bear as the bad guy?
3.
I think that's 3.
Oh, I hate that one. I hate that. I have nightmares about that bear.
No, straight up, that bear.
Yep.
Hated that bear.
Mm-hmm. I have a Buzz Lightyear in my game room right now, sitting on a shelf. Imagine that.
Oh, vigorous swig. There it is. He's proud of himself, having a different conversation than you
Imagine
guys
what?
are. Okay, guys, help me out here, though, because I do need the help. I'm totally ignorant. Greg, thanks for nothing.
I
That's
understand.
a good. You reward yourself with that drink. You had a different conversation with us, threw a dead fish at us, and didn't follow any of what we were doing there.
And
Please,
there it is.
please teach me about Toy Story.
I'm not going to age shame you here because it came out in the late 90s, right? And you were already in college you were out of college by then. You didn't have kids. I guess the only real reason to watch Toy Story at the time was it was just so innovative. It was really the first animated feature film that used computer technology. So it was a really big deal and a massive hit. That's the only way you probably caught it because it got great reviews back then. But it makes perfect sense that you haven't gotten around to Toy Story.
Who
yet.
are the chief characters, though?
Woody and Buzz Lightyear.
Okay, so
Played by Tom Hanks and Tim Allen.
But in terms of toys that like live outside of the universe, there is a Slinky, there is
Slinky dog.
there is a piggy bank and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
they
it brought
invented
things
a
back.
couple characters and surrounded them by actual like classic toys that would be in the Toy Hall of Fame.
So cool. So cool. Slinky Dog was originally played by Ernest. Now, it still
Yeah.
sounds like Ernest. Do they just keep repurposing old audio files of Ernest? Remember the Ernest movies? Wow, that was of a time.
Dan, do you know Buzz Lightyear's catchphrase? Come on, say it.
Ooh, yeah. Say it.
No idea. Oh, to
Come on, say
beyond?
it.
Something into beyond?
Yes, close. Something into
close.
two.
What's that?
Wow.
You're going to be watching all these movies when you're like 75.
With my 20-year-old child?
Huh?
I was going to say with your 4-year-old child. You'll get around to all these movies. It's really a golden era for children's filmmaking.
Gara. To infinity and beyond.
What's that?
Why does Greg have that?
Mr. Mushroom Head.
These are
Chris,
my
what-
old toys that he just took and put in his game room of curios. Here's the Grinch, too.
Oh, Greg loves toys.
Greg, are you a hoarder?
I am a hoarder. I have to admit it. I don't throw away anything. I have shoeboxes full of baseball cards. I mean, I can't part.
Wait a
with,
minute. Wait a
Greg,
minute.
did you know how
Greg,
valuable those could be?
Greg, can we go through your baseball cards? Like, let's see if there's any. We should go through your baseball cards on the air. Go get a box of those baseball cards that you say is somewhere in your house, and let's just see what kind of value we find.
I would pay Greg Cote on a whim that he has some valuable cards. I would give him $500 right now for every baseball card in his house.
Hold on,
That'd be a great
of
deal.
course. That's he is. Hold on, Greg. Wow, Greg, you're such a sucker.
Do it.
Greg, how are you the kind of idiot that would fall unseen for a $500 fee? you're going to give Stugotz about 1,000. If you have baseball cards from when you were young, Greg, he just ripped you off live in real time in a way that anybody in our group would pay you $500, I feel like, for your unseen baseball cards. If you're saying you have a treasure trove of baseball cards.
Right.
The Cody estate is denying that. The Cody estate is denying Stugotz's request.
Well, my saying "wow" does not constitute a legal agreement. I mean, come on.
Okay.
Let me. I'm going to put down the phone and see if I can find him. Hang on.
There could be like a Mickey Mantle rookie card in there. I mean, Greg goes back a long, long ways to the beginning of baseball.
I love that your first instinct was to rip him off.
I'm going to. Greg, $1,000 for every baseball card in your house. $1,500 for every baseball card in your house.
Negotiating against yourself right now.
Yeah, someone else was going to match me. It was going to be
it's like a bizarro auction where you just keep interrupting.
No, because he knows Billy, it's because he knows he's got the ripoff. He knows that we've all seen that he's got the ripoff, and now he's afraid of a bidding war. So this is how the Cardinals got J.J. Watt. You just saw it right there.
We've got both. Knowing what we know about Greg Cote, do we have any confidence that these are in mint condition?
What's going to and not only that, it's going to be like Francisco Lindor. Like, it's not going to be.
That could probably fetch a lot, though.
His baseball card box is going to be filled with like lint and buttons. Also,
I think he's calling someone right. He's calling someone right now to ask where the baseball cards are.
No, I thought they were in my office closet, but they're not. So they have to be in my beautiful garage. So I'll be a couple of minutes.
Okay. This is a hip new
I'll
thing.
take you guys on the journey.
This is the youngest our show has ever been because unboxings are a big deal on Twitch and YouTube. People are unboxing their NBA Top Shots. People open. There's this kid that's a multimillionaire because he built an empire off of unboxing toys and playing with them. So.
$500 is what Stugotz just offered. It's a great game show. The idea of sight unseen. The idea of because this
is
might
storage wars.
But no, it's more like let's make a deal. You might get a box with goat shit in it, but you might also find a Mickey Mantle original.
Also, Greg Cote might get bitten by a spider.
Greg was a big Red Sox fan, right?
Hold on. Chris Cote, let's do this as video and audio. Chris Cote right now, let's do play-by-play. Greg, you're in the garage. The garage is a bit awful. It's filled with hoarded items from the 1980s. What did you get?
Gerald Ford for president sign. Oh, my God.
All right, let's go through this garage of the hoarder here.
Greg has to do a garage sale.
All right,
that actually looks to be in good condition. You could probably fetch a nice $1 for the Gerald Ford for president sign.
Greg, $5,000 for everything in that garage.
Chris, this dump of a garage, Chris. You need to get this estate you need to get your affairs in order, Chris, right now, and realize that you can on eBay sell that Gerald Ford thing that he just has in pristine mint condition. Like, my guess is that by itself is worth $5,000. Is
that a cassette?
He does have a cassette.
Chris, give us some play-by-play.
He has a cassette.
Greg, give us some play-by-play of what you're finding in your garage.
What is this? It's a cassette tape. I have no idea why I still have it or what's on it.
It says Wilford Cody, 1440. Wow, your address.
Wow.
Song collection.
There you go.
Well, we got to hear it. We have to hear it.
There's no way he has a cassette player.
At random, here's the first baseball card. I picked Dean Chance, pitcher for the Minnesota Twins, 1966.
All right, let's find out what that's worth. That looks like it's in pretty good condition. Billy, let's do this in real time. Let's find out. The first card, give us some more information on the card. Hold on, Greg. Give us the manufacturer. Give us some more information on Dean Chance, and so we can find what that card is worth, please. All the information on the card.
I'm seeing like top 380 at the top of it.
There's a very real chance that we are stumbling upon a treasure right now, a gold mine.
66.
I think I even see there's one on eBay from 67 of Dean Chance, and it is worth $4.
Okay, that is not a gold mine. That is just $4. But we have the year before. We have the year before. I don't know. Let's see what else we have here, and let's see if we find anything of value. You guys look up some of this stuff as Greg Cote pulls it out. Greg, can we argue that it's in very good condition? Because I'm surprised. Some of that stuff in there looks like it's been there pristine for 50 years.
Yeah, most of them are in good condition. Some of them I wrote on, which devalues them completely.
But the way this goes is that Dean Chance, just by being mentioned on our show, probably goes up in value. So
taking notes? What were you writing on them?
Dean Chance was 20-9 one season with a 1.65 ERA. How about
Was it
that?
66?
No, it was 64.
Do it in the postseason, Chance.
He was the youngest player to ever win the Cy Young.
I'm looking for a superstar here among my cards. I haven't seen one yet.
All right, but let's see. Just grab 4 or 5 here, and let's see if we find some costs. You're not going to get a lot earlier than 1966, are you?
Fun bit of trivia, he founded
Yeah.
the International Boxing Association.
Oh.
Wow.
Dean Chance and Kevin Loughery, and I can't pronounce words, and we're all senile.
Lloyd Bridges.
And Lloyd Bridges. Don't forget Lloyd Bridges. The show for 2021. Hey, everybody, give us millions and millions of dollars. We're really popular with young people. As we go through Greg Cote's Dean Chance cards in his garage. Greg, give us, Chris, give us some more play-by-play on what you're discovering.
Dean Chance is a great name, though, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
All these players from the 60s or whenever this was look the exact same. They're white and they look like this guy.
Ooh.
What's that guy's
Who
name?
is that?
This is Art Shamsky.
Oh, wow.
Here's Boog Powell.
Wow.
Of the Baltimore Orioles.
All right, so Boog Powell, is that a rookie card or is that a late card? Boog Powell, hold on, don't throw that away like that. I think that's got some value,
card.
Greg.
What year is the Boog Powell
I think the
card?
Boog Powell one has some value.
And manufacturer.
I'm looking. It says TCG at the very bottom. I don't see a year.
Manufacturer. Is there a manufacturer? Do you have a name of a company that makes that card?
They're all Topps cards, I think.
All right, look at the back so you can find out what year it was. Look at the stats.
I'm telling you, it's just I see his stats, but in
Right.
terms of like
It
one
should be
year.
the year after that.
What's the
'cause you
final
can't
year,
do-
though, of his stats
Thank
on
you
the
for
card?
explaining
Jesus
that. I was
Christ.
getting so
What's
frustrated.
happening?
What
Chris,
are you guys talking about?
Chris,
It
all
has
right.
his career stats. and
Chris,
that's every year he
Chris,
played.
Right.
just be quiet for a second.
Up until the
Will you stop? Both of you and everybody, just stop, okay? We've got a couple of dope hoarders in a garage, generations of stupidity together.
Orders.
And they don't know what they're doing.
Ooh, Johnny Bench.
Are you kidding me?
What year is that?
Johnny Bench. What year does
All
it
right.
say on the back of the
Holy
card?
shit.
What's the last year?
1971.
Okay, well, this might be the 71 set, which would answer the question of the Boog Powell one, because the 71 Boog Powell Topps card is going for $300 in some places.
Okay, Chris.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Chris, you're sitting on a fortune there, and you don't
me
know
see that
how
Johnny
to.
Bench
You
again.
don't know how to read baseball cards, Chris.
Okay, Dan, I can bring you these cards. They don't say 1 year on them. They say
Yes.
just his stats.
Chris,
Christopher
the,
doesn't understand.
Chris,
understand.
you don't understand. The last year on the card tells you what year it is. The last year on the card is
100%.
like Jesus Christ, Chris.
Back of the card.
You're sitting on thousands of dollars and you don't know how to do math.
Stugotz, lower the bid. Lower the offer.
Most cards have a year that they were made at the bottom. That's
Lower
not
it,
their
Stugotz.
Greg,
Go down to,
$500 for everything in that garage.
Go lower.
Hell
Go lower.
no.
They don't know what they have.
You are in this case.
$5,200.
It's a
Ooh,
200.
Armin Killebrew.
I see 250
Are you
for the bench
shitting
score.
me? You've got Killebrew?
What year?
What year is Killebrew? What year, Greg?
1971.
All right, so this is all 71 set.
So the 71
That
times.
Johnny Bench one's expensive in 71.
It's a lot of money.
The Killebrew
Yeah.
one's going to be expensive. Like you've got stars in there. It's
Right.
not just Dean Chance. You've got legitimate pristine cards in your
Right.
garage. Protect those. Those are worth a lot of money. Chris's inheritance, even though he doesn't deserve it. Look at this. Chris Cote making riches again. What'd you just see, Billy? What else is in there? What'd you just see?
Let me see that Killebrew card.
It's $690 if
I'm
it's
seeing one
mixed.
that's $18,000.
If it's
of
mixed.
course.
If
No,
it's mixed.
He's got good cards in there. Killebrew. What else do you have in there, Greg? You better get insurance. You better get somebody smarter than Chris to run your account.
Keep them in air conditioning too,
Francona?
because for sure that heat is not good for them in that garage.
Oh, they're in good shape though. They're flying all over the garage right now. But Bob Skinner, manager, John Boozer. Who the hell is that?
Greg, go ahead. Let me just reel off 10 straight names. Let me see how many Killebrews and stuff you have in there.
Okay, at random, manager Harry Walker.
Nothing.
A rookie card with 2 rookies I've never heard of.
Give me their names.
Names, Greg.
Hal Gilson and Leon McFadden. Jimmy Wynn, the toy cannon. Okay.
Hold on, Billy. Look up that Jimmy Wynn. Look up that Jimmy
Williams.
Jimmy Wynn or Jimmy Williams?
Jimmy Wynn, WYNN, the toy cannon.
Nothing.
Okay, so
There's also a Harmon that's 79 cents. So
I can help you guys out here because I looked up most valuable 1971 Topps baseball cards. So if we hit on any of these names, we know we've struck gold. You want to find a Nolan Ryan, a Pete Rose, a Reggie Jackson, a Roberto Clemente, or a Thurman Munson.
Okay, somewhere in here I have Pete Rose rookie card.
What?
Yours look more like 72, though.
Wait. What? What? You think
somewhere I have Pete Rose's rookie card, but I don't see it. There's hundreds of cards here that I'm leafing through. I'm trying to look for another big name.
Did you hear the names you're actually looking for? He's asking you. Mike Ryan is telling you to look for a specific 5 or 6 name.
Pete Rose's rookie card goes for $150,000.
Pete Rose's rookie card might be $150,000 if you got the right one, the right brand, if it's in pristine condition.
Yeah, it's got to be in great shape for that.
It's also have to have, because there were reprints on these editions, so you need to have like first edition, kind of like what's going on with Top Shot. If you have the number 250 Johnny Bench, you might be on to something.
Greg, listen to me when I'm telling you this. You are going to have to get off the phone here soon and hire at $1,000 a day our security. You're going to have to get your garage protected, and you're going to have to make sure that the nation doesn't come down during this difficult time into your dirty garage filled with hoarding, because you've got, I can't believe the size and the number of boxes of these things that he has. He's going to be digging through money, and it might all be $3 at a time. It might not have any actual worth, but he's got the possibility of having some worth there.
Actually, I'm surprised. I'm looking on eBay right now for the secondary market, and the Johnny Bench thing it's got a wide variance, but I don't think that's much now anymore. I'm going to look up 1976 Gerald Ford presidential sign.
You should.
But still,
how do you look up what they're worth?
You get someone smarter than your son to do it. Billy seems to be pretty good at it.
There's a baseball price guide online. Just go to it. That's it.
Thank you for all your help, Stugotz.
Well, he asked. I gave him,
Okay, but he doesn't know how to look anything up for himself.
Totally
he doesn't know how to do anything for himself,
I'm
including
sorry.
wipe his own ass. And you want him to go searching for the internet when he's got what he's got there, indisputably.
Does Greg have internet?
Greg, what you have there, indisputably, is, if it's in decent condition, is thousands of dollars. Okay, if everything you have in there, it doesn't mean that you might have something that's worth $20,000 or $100,000 in there, but you can certainly sell those cards $4 at a time and make thousands of dollars if you wish to. Stugotz, you know the card business enough to know that, correct? If they're in decent condition.
They have to be in mint condition. You get a little less if they're not in mint condition, but you'll
a lot less
but
if they're not in mint condition.
You'll still get decent money for them. Like when I was collecting cards growing up, I had folders. I put them in sleeves. I kept them mint. I haven't sold them yet. Eventually I will, but that's what you have to do, Greg. I would start taking care of those cards, man.
Yeah, I'm going to organize them because right now they're just in disarray.
I found the exact sign that Greg has from President Ford on eBay for $50. So,
Wow.
Decent
All right.
value.
Greg, we're going to do this again with you. We're going to do 4 shows this week, okay? We're going to be doing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And somewhere in Thursday and Friday, I want you to put aside, I want to go through some of this stuff here because this is a fun exercise. This is a garage that has been the same since what year, Greg? You're walking into a garage
71
that has been the same. Is that when we stopped putting things in that garage, 71?
Well, we've lived here since Christopher was very young, so we've lived here like since the early 90s, I think.
Okay, so this got brought over from another house, or this is your parents, or this belongs to Uncle Dick's Rough Riders? Who does this belong to? Because there's going to be a family fight over the rights here. You're about to be very rich if you have a couple of things in there.
No, these are all my cards that I personally collected. My card collecting years were, I think, 1965-ish to about 72.
All right, so how many cards do you believe you have? If I asked you the cards that you have in some level of really good condition, how many?
Several hundred. I mean, it could be 1,000. I'm looking at three or four shoeboxes right here, and I think I've got others.
Okay, so of those, how do you feel about the condition of what you're looking at? Because what it looks like from over here is very good condition. It looks like those cards have been taken care of.
Yeah, most of them are in excellent condition. But like I say, some of them, like a dumbass kid, some of them I I literally wrote on the back, like I wrote numbers.
Okay, but Greg, it's fairly amazing. This is the stuff that gets found in family fortunes and estates sometimes. It might not have anything in it, but this is the kind of stuff that's old enough to actually have value if we can find some things. So let's play this game before we play it again later this week. Grab 10 cards at random. Just grab any 10 cards you have in there. And, Billy, let's see if we can keep up with Greg here and teach Chris some things, because he's going to have to manage a family fortune. He doesn't know what year baseball cards are while looking at all the numbers on the back of the card.
I've never met a person who does not, especially one who loves baseball, who does not know how to read the card.
It's just weird.
You guys obviously never looked at a Beckett before, the magazines that show you these values. I mean, you guys are just wrong about this, and you're loud wrong.
He's so
new
defensive.
New game. Real value or sentimental value with Greg Cote.
There you go.
Grab 10 cards, Greg.
We will figure this out as we go.
Okay, here's manager Gene Mock.
Okay, wait a minute.
Name drop.
Name drop.
Name drop.
What year? Hold on, please. Gene Mock is what year? Gene Mock was an old man my entire adult life.
Right.
So a card of Gene Mock, he might be old and he might be 27 years old and still look old. What year is that card?
You know, with a manager, they don't say. It's hard to tell.
That's true.
Yeah.
This might be the 71 set still, though.
Okay.
Oh, here's Glenn Beckert, great Cubs second baseman.
All right, let's
1967.
Okay,
right, slow
let's
down.
slow down. What is the brand manufacturer on the 1967 Glenn Beckert? You're going to give me 10 names here. Let us keep up with you so we can do this for the audience and get the possible payoff of actually finding a card that has a lot of worth. So, you already gave us Glenn Beckert, 1967. Who's the manufacturer?
Tops.
Okay, give me another one.
Cubs pitcher Ken Holtzman.
That's going to be a good one, I think. Okay, Roy, please look that up, because Billy, you look up.
1967.
All right, you look up, Billy. You look up Glenn Beckert, and we'll come back around on these, and we'll get from everybody. Ken Holtzman is the second one, Roy. He's on your docket. Go ahead, give me another one.
Giants outfielder Frank Johnson.
All right.
1968 tops.
Okay, 1968, Frank Johnson. Cortez, look that one up for me, please. 1968 tops, Frank Johnson. Go ahead. Keep going.
Cubs pitcher Kurt Simmons. 1966 tops.
Okay, let's do, go ahead. Who can look that up? Whittingham, look that up for me, please. Kurt Simmons, 1966, and we'll circle back around and go around the room, and you guys will tell me a general worth. Go ahead, Greg.
Okay, I got waylaid here because a couple of football cards popped in. Indians pitcher.
Hold on, give us the
football.
Give us the football cards. We'll put them in the mix as well. See if they're worth anything.
Okay, hang on.
See if we have found a treasure.
Ooh, look at this, Johnny Unitas.
Oh my God, Johnny, you.
Wow.
Okay, hold on. Oh, what year?
Hang on.
Rookie card. Make it a rookie card. Make it a rookie card.
Please.
Make it a rookie card.
It doesn't say.
That might be the rookie card.
No.
Give me more information on this
More
card.
information on the Unitas card. Give us more information on it.
Show it to him. I can't.
25 on the back. It appears to TCG. I think that's top.
All right,
12.
Chris, do me a favor. Just hold that one aside for a second. Let's see if that one's going to be paid
Okay, I
dirt.
found it. Oh my God! On eBay, I see one price for $1,500. Now, like anything, it all varies on condition, but this is a good card. Cheapest I see is $125. It goes all the way into the thousands of dollars.
See, this is Greg. This is what I'm.
Mint,
Greg,
too.
you were about to throw that. Like you threw that to the side. It's a football card. You have got a lot of money in whatever it is. Let's go around the room here. There's going to be some $2 and $3 ones. Have you guys had enough time to look some of these up so far?
I feel confident in saying median price on Johnny Unitas is $600.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. Greg, couple more names real quick.
We got another Hall of Fame football player, 1963 Green Bay running back Jim Taylor.
And that's going to be worth some money too. That's going to be all right. We're gonna give me
Y.A. Tittle.
Oh, no! That's you're lying.
Show me your tittle.
No, show it. He's not making that up. You got to be.
He has a tittle.
You've got a tittle.
Do you have two tittles?
Show us your tittles.
What's the number on the YA tittle?
124.
124.
All right, this is going to be Y.A. Tittle.
He's got Jim Taylor too.
I know Jim Taylor.
No, Jim Taylor's. It's going to be
Killebrew.
Oh my God!
Another one?
You got to be kidding
Okay,
me.
so your Johnny Unitas one might be your big your big winner here.
Billy Martin. Willie Mays.
Oh, my God.
What year?
No,
what year?
That's a specialty card, though. That's a specialty card.
Oh, a specialty card. Wait a minute. That's even better. Did he write on that? Hold on. Willie Mays.
Seaver.
Wait, what?
What year on Seaver?
I'm going to his house and killing him.
Terrific.
I'm going to have to murder him. I'm going to have to
We
murder
have
him.
to kill him.
Don't
Where do we hide the body?
Edit this out.
Yellow
Edit this
Brill.
out.
No.
No, we can't tell people. Let's
Just
edit
bleep
this
it
part
out.
Yes.
Bleep it out.
Yeah, just bleep
we
out murder. We
absolutely
need to murder him.
Where do we bury his body?
All right. Let's do this here. Billy, what did you find? What did your research find? What did you find on whatever it is the player you were assigned?
I was looking up the Glenn Beckert card from 1967 Topps. It seems to range from $84 to $500. So from $84 to $500, more or less.
Who was Glenn Beckert?
Stugotz is really regretting
I
that
think he's
he
a
didn't,
conservative guy.
That he didn't throw around more money at the start of this. Again, I remind you.
Greg has to have a price
I
now.
remind you.
I think he's with the Blaze.
He's got an original Glenn Beck conservative card. Ryan, what did you find there with the player that he had in the box? Which player were you assigned to?
I was looking up the 1968 San Francisco Giants outfielder Frank Johnson, and that card cost $2.79.
All right.
Shit adds up, though. What can you tell me about this Willie Mays? You said it was a specialty card. I can't find it off of cursory search. Can I have a bit more info?
This might be like a specialty.
What was that?
Number 50 on the Willie Mays.
Number 50 on Mays.
Give us more information about the card.
This is what the back looks like. It's
All right.
like a weird card.
All right, but Chris, for the
And it's a
audience,
Topps.
for the audience on the radio, explain to the audience on the radio what it says on the back of the card.
The Series 1 12 league leader card, 1971 World Series and playoff game cards.
I mean, it could be.
I see $54.
Really?
Yeah, but that's just one.
Bargain.
All right. So, again, a reminder that Stugotz tried to buy all of this for $500 because he knew it was possible that this is what was possible.
And Greg was ready
He was going to do it, too. You had him on the hook. Greg was absolutely going to make that deal. What do you have there? Joe Morgan? Joe Morgan.
God.
What year on Joe Morgan?
And these are all in good shape?
Yes.
Yeah, 71.
That's Big Red Machine stuff, man.
Hold on. Again, Chris. Joe Morgan, more information.
Joe Morgan, more top 132 on the back, and it has all his stats, so it's a legit card. And we have the same one for Brave Hank Aaron.
Holy shit! All right,
299 is the number.
That
on the
Hank
back of
Aaron's got to be through the roof right now.
Let's stop the show right
I
now.
think the Morgan's more expensive.
Raleigh Fingers.
Raleigh Fingers. Okay, we're going to stop the show. We're going to do this, Chris.
Holy shit! Wait, did you say Hank
I'm
Aaron
not.
$299?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hold it up? Let me
Hammer
see
and
it.
Hank.
Let me see it. No, the front.
That's
Oh
it.
my!
That's it, Mike.
Oh my God!
That's it.
Oh my God!
What is that?
I see all over eBay. Cheapest price that I see off of cursory searches, $6,000. I see it listed for $42,000.
That Hank Aaron is in good condition. That's a good condition card. Like that.
There's one that's $48.99 also.
Right.
Okay, but still. Okay, we're going to get this organized. I'm going to kill Greg Cote and now his son. I guess I got to do that too.
I'm telling you, these baseball card collectors are snobs, though, Dan. If there's any crease whatsoever, they will take the value down from $6,000 to $500.
Although, but
know?
you're forgetting the added value of being in Greg Cote's garage.
True.
Greg, you should sign these cards to add to the value. Actually.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yes.
So they're worth
Autographs.
20 cents each.
All right.
The order of this Hank Aaron one is not fantastic.
Oh, damn it. All right, so just sign your name there on the corner.
Wear gloves when you guys are doing this, by the way.
Sign Hank Aaron's name, though, right?
Yeah, sign Hank Aaron's name. Put Hank Aaron - Greg Cote.
Greg, we will check in with you again on Thursday, okay?
Even though you'd be dead by then.
Yeah, well, you will be. That's right.
Everyone's going to be dead. It's going to be like De Niro and Goodfellas. Dan's just going to kill everybody that has knowledge of this scheme.
Yeah, between now and Thursday, I'll organize them all, and I'll show you what I think might be the most valuable.
What a cliffhanger. What a cliffhanger. We'll talk to you on Thursday.